Hi there. It is the day. It is Best Day. Because Best Day is anniversary of Best Game. Dragon's Lair 3D Return to the Lair. Certainly no stranger to me streaming this on the channel. But haven't missed a year since I started consistently streaming on YouTube, and I do not intend to miss one starting this year. As always, because Windows likes to mess with audio levels, if it's too loud or too quiet, please let me know. I will adjust as the stream goes along. Seems like right now the game might be too quiet, but I'm not entirely certain on that. So before I jump into the game, let me know, and I will make sure everything is operating as intended. Assume LP videos. Yeah, there will not be LP videos today. They'll resume tomorrow. Today, I've blocked off today entirely to stream this game. Well, okay, I say today entirely. It's not gonna take me that long. The game's like it only takes me about 3 hours to get through this game because I just have so much experience playing with it. So it shouldn't, unless something goes catastrophically wrong, I'm not expecting this stream to go any longer than 3 hours. Well, let me correct that. I'm not expecting it to take me any longer than 3 hours to play through the game, but the stream itself will probably be a little over the 3-hour mark, because today is also the day when Jeff Keighley announces the nominations for the Game Awards. That's happening at noon Eastern Standard Time, so in about 49 minutes. You'll be able to view the nominations for this year's Game Awards ceremony. And I definitely want to check that out before I end the stream, out of morbid curiosity, especially because of the thing that just got announced, that apparently DLCs, expansions, and remasters and the like are just as eligible for a Game of the Year nominee as brand new titles, which kind of feels like it's a rule that was pulled out of their asses at the last minute to prevent certain other games from being listed as Game of the Year. But that's just me. Anyway, if you want to look at the nominees when they go live at noon, I can't stop you. Go for it. If you want to look at them, that's on you, by all means. However, I have one rule. If you do look at the nominees, don't post them here. Don't share them here. I want to discover them for myself when I'm done streaming the game. And I want to maintain that surprise for anyone else who's watching the stream who doesn't want to go check it right when they come out. Anyway, let's read some messages. Do I ever plan on watching Don Bluth's movies? Maybe. Maybe at some point. I feel like I probably should, given the adoration and dedication I've had to singing this game's praises throughout my life. Favorite and least favorite Disney Channel sitcom. Okay, favorite is Good Luck Charlie. Least favorite... I don't really know if I have a least favorite. I guess maybe Dog with a Blog, because I like Good Luck of the ones I saw. The only ones I watched beginning to end were Good Luck Charlie, Austin and Ally, Dog with a Blog, Liv and Maddie, and I Didn't Do It. I think of those, Dog with a Blog is probably my least favorite. I never watched Girl Meets World or Best Friends whenever that consistently. By which I mean, I didn't watch them at all. Like, the premises for both of them didn't seem like something I would like. Although I do love the theme song for Girl Meets World, Take on the World. That's quite a catchy tune. I don't know what the theme song was for Best Friends whenever, so I guess I'd probably would say Dog with the Blog. Although, amendum to that, the most frustrated I ever got with any Disney Channel sitcom, and this includes Spencer McFuckface from Good Luck Charlie, was the final season of Liv and Maddie, where they just ripped the show out of its roots and threw everyone in California for some stupid reason, and the show quickly devolved into a shell of its former self. They had brief pockets of quality sprinkled throughout the final season, but most of that was just a train wreck, and it was miserable for me to watch. Jeff Keighley announces Elden Ring DLC for Game of the Year. Well, that's absolutely going to happen. That is 1,000% going. That's the rule was almost certainly created specifically so that can happen, so I can get another win under its belt. It will annoy me, but it will not surprise me if that ends up winning Game of the Year. Dog with the Blog commentary when? Never. Because it's not bad enough to where it would warrant that type of a reaction video. I feel like Dog with the Blog, I don't think it's even too controversial to say Dog with the Blog is kind of bleh. I feel like that wasn't too positively rated among the Disney Channel. I mean, none of the Disney Channel sitcoms have like that great of IMDb scores. I think Good Luck Charlie has like a 7 or something. Someone fact check that for me. I think Good Luck Charlie's around the 7 range, Austin Alley's around the 6 range, and I think Liv and Maddie is a little higher than Austin Alley, but still in the 6 range. And Dog with the Blog, I think, might even be a 4 or 5. Favorite song from Austin and Alley? Now that is an impossible question to answer, because I just love all of them so much. Oh man, although I am partial to Timeless. That's the first one to come to my head. It's like if I have to pick one favorite, that's one that comes to mind. Obviously the title theme is classic. Man, that's tough. I also really like the final song, 2 in a Million. Thoughts on Wizards of Waverly Place? Never saw it. I have no thoughts on it. When I first played this game, at what point did I have the leaning forward and interest moment? So, I don't think that really applies for this game for me, because I was, like, I don't even know, 3? I was probably playing this game when I was 3 years old, so there was no... It's not like I sat down, 3-year-old me sat down on the couch, said, alright, let's play the brand new Dragon's Lair game, let's see how it is. It was basically just... I walked into the room while my dad was playing it, and it looked interesting, so I sat and watched the rest. And a lot of it was just me watching him play it until I finally gained the dexterity to be able to play it myself, which I was definitely holding the controller and playing. There's footage of me holding an Xbox controller and playing games on the Xbox when I was 3 years old. But it wasn't like one moment in particular that made me go, oh, this is like amazing. It was just... I walked into the room as a kid and saw something that intrigued me. Just immediately. I also like that on that book right there, if you can get a close enough look, which you probably can't now, it says Dragon's Lair on the cover of that book. I was in the womb playing this game. With my, yeah, the umbilical cord was the controller connector. How many times have I played this game? God, I can't even begin to calculate a number like that. Probably too many for what a reasonable person would say is the respectable amount of times to play through a game to completion. The Disney sitcoms definitely haven't aged well. Well, I don't know. I mean, some aspects of them haven't aged well, I guess. But overall, they still hold up. Or at least, Good Luck Charlie holds up really well. Apart from, you know, the Spencer stuff. And that one episode where Amy and Bob just have brain convulsions because they can't comprehend what to do when a lesbian couple comes over to hang out with them. Their brains stop functioning correctly because Bob wants to watch a game with someone, but there's no father to watch the game with, so he just short circuits. So there's some things that haven't aged well, but generally speaking, I'd say that Good Luck Charlie and Austin and Ally hold up really well. Liv and Maddie probably holds up pretty well. I've been meaning to rewatch that show for years now, so that probably is another one that holds up pretty well. Dog with a Blog, I don't think that held up even when it came out. Would I consider Back to the Future 2 a two-part of 3? Well, it was conceived as one giant movie that was then split in half, so yes. When it was written, it was originally written as one 3.5-hour long sequel to Back to the Future. But then they're like, you know, maybe we should just split this in two. Which I was for the better. I can't even, I don't know how, pacing-wise, I don't know how well that would have worked. To have essentially two, because it is two complete movies, just split into two. Like, it's not like one giant movie. It's not like Across the Spider-Verse where it's clearly one giant story that's arbitrarily split off in the middle. It is you have one story arc in 2 and then one story arc in 3 with something bigger connecting the two of them together. So I don't even know how well, it was probably for the better that it was released as 2 parts instead of the one 3.5-hour sequel it was originally conceived of as. Have I played any game similar to this one? Ocarina of Time. I think it's pretty clear this game lifted a lot of its mechanics. They were very, very heavily inspired by Ocarina. This game took you forever. Sorry, this room took you forever because the game doesn't let you grab ledges with the sword out. That is probably the #1 thing that I would change about this game if I were to be remade, is to either automatically pocket your sword when you interact with something like a rope or a ledge, or allow you to grab onto said things while the sword is out. Idea for a Christmas commentary, Artist Christmas. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I liked that movie when I was a kid. I'd be interested in seeing how it holds up. Certainly would not be opposed to such a commentary idea. It's the better Spider-Verse movie. Into the Spider-Verse. Clearly.
I think that door leads to the robot knight.
The more changes I'd make was autosave. I mean, they're interchangeable. They're both equally important.
The ring is one of
The lack of autosave and the lack of auto-sheathing / lack of grabbing onto ledges
the ring will
while your sword is out are both equally, what's the word I'm looking for?
How do you get up?
Equally, I guess, obtuse or obstructive to newcomers to the game. I've heard the recent Snow White controversy. Nothing new, no. I just know the old stuff. That they CGI'd all the dwarves because Disney fucking sucks. But you know what, let's try not to devolve the stream into just Disney sucks. Because we do that all the time and it's such easy low-hanging fruit. Let's just leave it there. Let's just leave it at CGI dwarves and then, don't go see Snow White. And if you go to see Moana 2, just remember to go to a theater that doesn't have assigned seating. And if you only have theaters with assigned seating in your area, consider supporting a different movie. And then maybe when you get inside the theater, you change your mind and say, you know, maybe I go into a different theater instead. Maybe I check the assigned seating chart to make sure that I'm not sitting in someone else's seat. Maybe I even go into the order screen on the AMC app or whatever equivalent app you use. And, act as if I'm going to purchase some seats by selecting them in the screen. But then don't actually purchase them, just keep the seats selected. And then cancel the order right before the scheduled showtime. So that, because the app will automatically reserve your seats and it will hold on to them a little bit after you attempted to make your order, you will guarantee that no one else has time to book a ticket in that seat before the show starts, and you can watch it. I mean, I would never advocate you do any of this, of course. Just, you know, something to keep in mind. Thoughts on the final season of Young Sheldon? Final season in general was solid. The penultimate episode was really, really strong with the funeral. The final episode itself was blatant fan service crap. It's just like, hey, you watch Big Bang Theory, right? Remember the characters from Big Bang Theory? Let's have a bunch of nostalgia baity things. And it's it doesn't even really feel like a proper finale. It just is, it's mainly just there so that you can have the adult versions of the characters show up. It's lame.
Take heed, Dirk. Away from the podium, the mana cell needs you. If separated too long, the cell will return to where you found it.
How do I feel about Walt and Jesse appearing in the final season of Better Call Saul? It's one of the worst parts of the show. I don't like much kind of similar to Young Sheldon, I guess. It just feels like fan service. It's just it's visually it's really hard to overlook the fact that they are very, very clearly a lot older than they are supposed to be. Oddly enough, it works in the reverse for Bob Odenkirk, because Bob Odenkirk got into much better shape since he filmed Breaking Bad. He actually looks younger than he did in Breaking Bad, so that ended up working out really nicely. But the same cannot be said for Walt and Jesse. Well, I guess it's less noticeable with Bryan Cranston, but Aaron Paul was like, what the fuck happened to you? It does not work. And really, for the most part, you could lose those. The episode that's actually called Breaking Bad, you can lose most of those scenes and nothing of value would be lost. Overall thoughts on Big Bang Theory? It doesn't look like a show that I'd ever want to watch. I'm happy with just watching Young Sheldon and leaving it there. Funny, because Jesse looks normal in the fucking Popcorners commercials. Yeah, they're losing. You're losing to a Popcorners commercial. Do I have any hopes for Moana 2? That it's good. That's what I'm hoping for. Is that Moana 2 ends up actually being good, which is something I'm extremely skeptical about. I don't want to say very little faith in it being good, but, I wouldn't bet any money on it, I guess. It just, the circumstances of its production and how it was transformed from a TV show into a movie at seemingly the last possible second, not a fan. It does not bode well for the film's success rate. Your main hope for Moana 2 is that it flops. Well, you know that's not gonna happen. Try as we might, it is guaranteed, basically, to succeed. Even if it ends up being terrible, that hasn't stopped Disney movies from succeeding before. Well, let me rephrase that. It hasn't stopped Disney movies from succeeding when they have popular characters attached to the IP. Like, Wish didn't perform well, but Toy Story 4 performed well, and Incredibles 2 performed well. And I think Ralph Breaks the Internet also didn't do that horribly either. They don't have the same person doing the music of Moana 2. I know, and I'm not happy about it. I'm very much not happy about the fact it wouldn't sting as, because the reason why Lin-Manuel Miranda probably isn't attached to it is because when this project started, it was a TV show, and so they didn't bring back the film's composer for the TV show. But the fact that we now know he's hitched his wagon to Mufasa instead of Moana 2, that's what stings. That's what really stings.
With it, a new ability is yours. The Whirlwind Sword Attack.
If you ever get to the Grinch movies as a commentary, will be fun. Maybe. Can't, no current plans for either that or the Santa Claus movies, but, you never know. There's plenty of things that we didn't have plans for, and then suddenly we did. You can't believe Mufasa's happening? I can. The Lion King 2019 made almost $2 billion at the box office, because people are very, very easy to trick. Dude, Pride Rock. I mean, need I say more? Pride Rock. It's right there.
Towers above the castle.
It is disappointing, though. Oh, I'm hoping at least. I'm gonna be so disappointed. I at least understand why The Lion King 2019 made the money that it did, because their whole thing was baiting you with nostalgia, with the music you remember and the visuals you remember. But Mufasa doesn't have any of that. Mufasa has no nostalgia to bank on, because it's its own original bank of what will probably be a lot of stupid shit. So one would, it's not even trying to, from what I can tell, it's not even, I mean, maybe, I'll put my hands up for this one. I don't know all the Lion King lore. I know there's a lot of expanded universe material in the form of the Lion Guard that apparently the movie might be dipping into. I don't know. But if it is, I don't think that's anywhere near as recognizable as what they were pulling from the first time. So I would be shocked if Mufasa ended up performing well at the box office. One of the nominees out in about 30 minutes. I have a feeling what's going to happen is I'm going to stop the game in about 30 minutes. I was going to wait till the end of the stream, but something tells me people are going to be too curious to wait that long, so we might take... Well, I guess I'll take a vote. We'll take a vote in 30 minutes and see how, see what people... Or maybe I'll put the poll up after I clear this level and see what people are feeling as far as whether we break at noon to check the nominees or we wait till the end of the stream.
How can you hold such a heavy beam?
Have I ever played Angry Birds? Yes. I have indeed played Angry Birds. It was one of the first games I ever played on the iPad. And it was... I think that was my go-to game to play when my parents took 3 years to finish eating at a restaurant. I would just boot up one of the many different versions of Angry Birds. I also remember playing Angry Birds with my grandmother a lot. And I also remember playing... Remember the board games for Angry Birds? Where you would set up little blocks, and then you have a little slingshot you could use to launch the bird toys at the blocks? That was pretty cool. So yes, I have played Angry Birds, and I have very fun memories. I've played Angry Birds, I've played Angry Birds Rio, I've played Angry Birds Seasons. I played a little bit of Angry Birds Space. And I think that's all of them. I might have played one level of Angry Birds Star Wars. I never played Angry Birds 2, though. What Christmas specials have I seen? Good Luck Charlie's Christmas special, all the Disney Channel, I'll just save us some time. All the Disney Channel sitcom specials, and also the animated stuff, so Phineas and Ferb, Amphibia. I have not seen the Star Wars Holiday Special. So that one is, off the charts. Also Nickelodeon stuff, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents. Was there a Jimmy Neutron Christmas special? There probably was. I feel like there would have had to be a Christmas special for that show at some point. Did you hear Disney's making Ice Age 6? Unfortunately. Just let it die. Collision Course was awful, and the Buck Wild movie was somehow even worse. Let it fucking die. I don't need any more Ice Age. You don't need any more Ice Age. I'm sick of... The only way Ice Age 6 is even remotely worthwhile is if they have... Someone mentioned this on Twitter, is if they have them reunite with the humans from the first movie. Because the humans just disappeared off the face of the earth after the first movie. They are gone. They do not exist in that world anymore. If they actually tie it back into the first movie, you know, where it all started, then it could be worthwhile. But on principle, I just don't want it. I'm sick of it. No. I hate it. Who was my favorite Good Luck Charlie character? I was always drawn to Gabe as a kid. As an adult, though, it's probably either PJ or Teddy. Do I like Charlie Brown? Yeah. Apparently they're gonna make Cars 4. If I had a fucking nickel for every time I've been asked this question, that leak was very clearly debunked. I told people it's not real, it's not believe nothing until it's officially confirmed, and then it was officially debunked. Will Pixar make a Cars 4 at some point? Maybe, but that's not my problem right now. They currently have no plans to do so, the leak was bullshit, and that's all that matters at this current point in time. Stop motion, Rankin Bass Christmas specials? No, well, maybe, if you name some of them, I might have seen them, but that name doesn't mean anything to me. Also, as is usually the case with me, I'm currently bouncing back and forth between reading new messages in chat and catching up on really old messages in chat. Thoughts on stuff regarding Dan Schneider over at Nickelodeon? it's disgusting, and the more I learn about it, the more... Remember that interview that he did on I think I talked about this in a previous stream. I saw a clip on Twitter where he was being interviewed by someone, and I was very confused because the interviewer's demeanor was way gentler than I would have expected it to be given the caliber of allegations that have been levied against him. And then I found out it's because it was someone who used to work with him, and I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense. And suddenly everything falls into place. That would be why he was so gentle on him. But truth be told, I don't know the full story. I didn't watch the Quiet on the Set documentary. I probably should, but I don't actually know the full scope of everything that happened. But what I do know isn't great, and it makes me sick to my stomach the more I learn about it. In high school, there was someone in your game design class called Dan Schneider. What an unfortunate... Legally fucking changed your name. That's like... I feel so bad for you, and like, honestly, the best way out is probably just to change the name. Okay. To wait or not to wait for Game Awards nominees. There, I'll let that run for the next 30 minutes or so. And then we'll reconvene at noon, and I will abide... I know this phrase has some unfortunate connotation to it, but I will abide by whatever the results of the poll are. Do I have any thoughts on Disney's Dinosaur? Never seen it. If I look back at the shows, you can't unsee things. I can believe that. I haven't seen Meet the Robinsons. No, I have not seen Meet the Robinsons. Thoughts on the monthly drama? That's another thing that I can't believe is actually... I can't believe that's actually a thing that is happening. I don't even know how a product like that gets approved, and no one catches anything. Tom and Jerry audio commentaries when? Oh dear lord. The Tom and Jerry movie is... So the problem with the Tom and Jerry movie, at least the one that I talked about in the worst movies video, is that it's not really like the classic Tom and Jerry slapstickness, if that's not a word, but you know what I mean. That type of humor isn't really present for most of it. Like, it's way more focused on the planning of the wedding and the human drama bullshit. So, it's not like, I don't think that would make for a very interesting commentary. As for other Tom and Jerry movies, we haven't really talked about any of that stuff. Have I heard about the Johnny Somali South Korea incident? No, I don't even have the faintest idea of what that is.
Remember, Dirk, within these towers, sound is the key.
Least favorite animal? If you know anything about me, you already know the answer to that question. I almost didn't make that jump. Have you seen the original Tom and Jerry movie from the 90s? The one where they talk? No. No, I have not. And I think that's for the better. Also, someone asked a long-ass time ago if I would ever consider speedrunning this game. Not really, because this game doesn't have all that interest. I've looked into it. This game doesn't really have that much of interesting in the way of interesting speedrunning tech. Like, Battle for Bikini Bottom is a fantastic speedrunning game, and the community is still alive and well to this day. This game, on the other hand, I've seen speedruns of this game, and it's really just like the same kind of boring glitch over and over again. It's like there's this thing, maybe I'll show it at the end of the stream. If I forget, remind me to show you a clip of what this game looks like to speedrun. It's basically a glitch where you get Dirk stuck in a position to where he, like, glides up an invisible piece of geometry to reach a higher point in the level. And that kind of tech isn't, like, I'm more interested in movement-based speedruns like Odyssey or BFBB, and not, like, glitch-based speedruns. Unless you just mean, how fast can I beat the game when not, just normally, like, without worrying about any kind of speedrun tech. Part of me does want to see, like, how fast could I beat this game if I'm just, with no distractions, no stream, no nothing, just raw gameplay from beginning to end. How long would it take me to beat this game? But I don't know how much self-improvement there is. I feel like like, most of this game is just autopilot for me at this point, as you might be able to tell. And I'm hovering it around sub 3 hours, probably, which isn't normal. Like, this game doesn't take a normal person 3 hours to beat, but that's because a normal person doesn't, you know, have every ounce of this game committed to the back of their damn mind. So I don't know. Since I just watched Polar Express, do I think people are too hard on the movie? Kinda, yeah. I wouldn't say, I mean, from the perspective of visuals, it's gonna be down to everyone individually, whether they're creeped out by it or not. But I don't think it's, like, the disastrous nightmare fuel that a lot of people have said it is. It's a solid Christmas movie. Alright, let's see if I can get this. This is the... Nah, damn it. Tried to be too speedy about it. This is the one part of the game that will stonewall me. I almost saved that. Say something bad about the first Portal game. It's, too short, I guess. I don't know. Portal's a pretty perfect game. Like, it's such a tightly compacted experience that there's basically no room for error. I guess, well, actually, no. There is one room for error, and it's those fucking balls. The balls that you have to, basically the thing that the lasers replaced in Portal 2. Where you have to, it'll launch a ball from one thing, you have to redirect that ball into another thing. Which might be fine were it not for the fact that it instantly kills you. And they were so annoying that Valve was like, yeah, maybe this isn't a great idea. So they canned it for the sequel and they replaced it with the lasers. Which is a lot better for a lot of reasons. Mainly because it's an instantaneous feedback loop. So, like, with the balls, you always have to wait for it to, so if you put the portals in the wrong spot, you're gonna be waiting there for a while for the loop to reset. So, whereas with the lasers, if the laser's in the wrong spot, you can immediately tell that it's in the wrong spot and you can try something else. Because the laser's always on, but the balls are not always moving. So, not only can it kill you instantly, but you're just wasting time waiting. And that's never fun, when you just have to play the waiting game. So I guess that would be the one bad thing I say about Portal, is those stupid balls. And clearly Valve agrees with that, because they removed them from the sequel. And we never saw them again. And hopefully we never do see them again, in whatever future non-existent Portal projects. Does Valve make things? I guess they made Half-Life Alyx, but like, what is the most recent Valve-made thing? Was it the Aperture... There was an Aperture help desk thing, I think. Was that the most recent thing? Deadlock? Oh, I don't know what that is. Say something bad about both Paddington movies? I need to rewatch them to be able to answer that question. I haven't seen them in almost 2 years. I do remember being annoyed by some things, though. I think I said that the Chekhov's gun in the first movie was a little, like, they kind of beat you over the head with it, so it wasn't really much of a surprise when it happened. And I think there were some things about the climax in the second movie that felt either contrived or a little bit of a stretch, but again, I would need to rewatch them to be able to fully substantiate those positions. Did I know that the studio behind Polar Express at one point was originally going to be a remake of Yellow Submarine? Yes, you have mentioned that in previous streams, and I think you had mentioned that in the Polar Express commentary chat, if I'm not mistaken. Some sort of Half-Life game is coming according to leaks. I would lay off the copium for now. Leaks, track records with leaks don't always... Sometimes they result in, like, the Ace Attorney leak so far has been 100% accurate. I said when it came out that they were going to make Ace Attorney Chronicles and the Apollo trilogy, and then also Ace Attorney 7. I said that don't believe any of this until we actually see evidence to support that it's real, and then the Chronicles came out, and the trilogy came out, and I'm like, alright, maybe now we start believing that this leak is actually a thing. But sometimes what happens with leaks is you get Cars 4, where everyone's like, oh my god, Cars 4, they're making a 4th Cars movie, quick, I gotta make a 10-minute video about it, about this one possible leak, and rant about a whole bunch of nonsense to pad it out for ad revenue. Also, my pen is hooked onto my mouse, get out of here. And then it comes out that it's not even true anyway, so just tread with caution, I guess. Was Investigations duology in that leak? I don't think it was. Was it? I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I mean, I haven't looked at that document since probably 2020. But I don't believe that was a part of the leak when it came out. Oh, shit. I will say the nice thing about this game is, from a speedrunning perspective, is that it's instantaneous. Like, you just hit the escape key, and you instantaneously respawn. Which I apparently learned is not a thing on the GameCube version, because the GameCube version kind of... How the hell did I save that? Kind of sucks balls. But on the PC version, at least, you just hit one button and you immediately respawn. So that is very nice for speedrunning. Best scene in Monsters, Inc. It's gotta be the door vault chase. Am I playing on keyboard? Yes. That is why you can hear the sound of my mechanical keyboard going clackety clackety clack. Which is a sound that is very pleasing to my ears, but might be annoying to other people's ears. This game's visuals surprisingly hold up well. Yeah, because it's cel-shaded. It's a very stylistic, cel-shaded artistic direction. So it's going to hold up a lot better than other games released around this time period. Like, Halo Combat Evolved does have a unique art style, which is why the Covenant looks pretty okay, and a lot of the environments still look gorgeous, relatively speaking. But it is still trying to be somewhat... I don't know, realistic is never a good word to use in this situation, but, like, you can tell the humans are supposed to look like humans, and they kind of don't, because it's 2001. But... and so, like, this game, for as well as that game's visuals hold up mostly, this game is obviously going to hold up a lot better because it's not trying to emulate the real world. Ow. Best and worst film of 2024. Okay, best film I've seen is Heretic. Wild Robot being a close second. And then the worst film I've seen is Unfrosted, and it's not even close. Unfrosted is a blight on the concept of filmmaking. It's dreadful. I never want to watch it again. I can't... Jerry Seinfeld needs to, like, he should have just rested on his laurels from Seinfeld. Everything he's tried to do since Seinfeld has not... I mean, I love B-Movie, don't get me wrong. Like, I absolutely, unapologetically adore that film because of how off-the-walls insane it is. And I would still... Shit, I hit the... this might be interesting. Yeah, okay. I forgot to hit the other bell. I love B-movie, but I would never defend it as a work of, like, high art or anything. Although I would still say it's better than most people give it credit for. It's not like... it's certainly nowhere near the bottom of DreamWorks' catalog. It's like mid-tier slash... maybe mid-tier slash slightly above mid-tier of DreamWorks' catalog. B-movie commentary, now that is something that we have talked about. That is definitely something that has been discussed when thinking of future commentary ideas. Alright, back to some older comments. Favorite essence in the game? Probably the dragon's scale, because of how it makes Dirk look. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I would always put on the dragon's scale, even if I wasn't in a fiery environment, because it just made Dirk look really cool. And it didn't take up any resource. Like, it doesn't cost, unless you're actively burning, it doesn't cost any mana to use. So, it didn't hurt me to always have it on. I am surprised at how the poll is... Okay, tell you what, let me end this poll and ask it again and phrase it a little bit better. So it's not as ambiguous. Don't you just love the sound of my keyboard clacking? I'm genuinely asking, because I do, like... The reason I got a mechanical keyboard, apart from the fact that it's the Halo branded keyboard and it looks sick, is just I love the sound of the keys. But a lot of it's different for some people. Some people find that sound very addicting, and some people find it obnoxious. Why is Hazbin Hotel good? The music is phenomenal, like Broadway level musical quality. The way in which the characters are written is very compelling. I find the animation style to be very alluring. Let's not miss this jump. I've been thinking about making... let me preface this by saying this does not mean it's actually going to happen. Because a lot of times I say that I'm thinking about doing a thing and then I don't end up doing it. I'm just saying I've been thinking about it. I have considered the possibility of making a video dedicated to Hazbin Hotel because of how much people just virulently despise that show. And most of what Vivzy Pop does. Not saying I'm going to do it, just that it's something I've thought about. Because I'm kind of getting annoyed at how uncharitably her... I've said it before, I genuinely don't think I've ever seen a creator that has received such, like... unfair, bad faith reads of their work. Like, the amount of people that just despise her and everything she makes blows my mind. Did I finish Season 1 of Hell of a Boss? Yes. It kind of feels like I didn't, because I don't think the season finale is all that... It's not a bad episode, it's just not a good finale episode. Like, it doesn't feel conclusive, it doesn't feel like anything ended. It's weird. What I mentioned Hell of a Boss in Potential Hazbin video, only in passing, because I don't, like, well, the shows may be set in the same universe, but there's not that much crossover between them. So, apart from, like, if there's any Easter eggs, I guess, because they do, in Hell of a Boss, they do reference the pilot of Hazbin Hotel, so I guess there's stuff like that, but... Season 1 actually has a finale now. Technically, it has a final episode. Whether you can call it a finale is up to you, I guess. Do I know how long it took for Season 1, Episode 8 to be released? I know it came out way later than the rest of the season. Like, I saw that on IMDb. What's going to... I don't want the... I don't know, it's never happened to me before. Locking onto the auto target locking onto one of the small bats instead of the Bat King. What's going to be my next analysis video after my Toy Story 3 video? Don't know. Could be Ralph Breaks the Internet, could be Aladdin 2019, or it could be a curveball. Because the Owl House video certainly wasn't planned until I saw that show and it completely took over my life. So, we'll have to wait and see. Whoa, 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 ha 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 ha. No, thank you. I almost fell right off the edge. That would have made me very sad. That would have made me so immeasurably disappointed in myself. Alright, I think I'm almost done with catching up on earlier comments in the stream, and then I can focus fully on new comments. Also, I need health. Midway through November, don't remind me. Don't remind me, please. Alright, looks like that's... I might have missed some earlier ones, but that's all I can see. That's as far back as the chat log goes. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Right, I was too distracted looking at chat. I forgot to actually pay attention to the game. Right. Bro's gonna die. Thoughts on the haters on my channels? It's YouTube. You're bound to make enemies at some point. I don't mind people making videos about me. It's part and parcel of being a YouTuber. You're gonna make enemies, you're gonna make friends. Season 2 of Hell of a Boss completely flies off the rails. It's hilarious to witness. We'll see. I'm gonna start watching it this week. We will see what happens. Oh my god. Have I seen Mrs. Doubtfire? Surprisingly, yes. My grandmother had me... Uh-oh. Made it. My grandmother made me watch that. Well, not made me watch it. She wanted me to watch it when I was a kid, and so we did. I probably could have made that, but I didn't want to risk it. Whoa, 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 whoa! Am I alive? Okay, I'm alive. That didn't look like I was gonna live there for a second. That didn't look... It looked like he was gonna go fall off the edge, but he didn't. It's fine. Anyway, I've seen Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't remember much about it. In fact, I say I remember nothing about it, except the general premise. I don't think I liked it when I was a kid, but maybe I would... My grandmother keeps telling me that if I would appreciate it more now that I'm an adult, so maybe I'll revisit it at some point. Oh, but speaking of movies I watched recently, Runaway Jury. I watched Runaway Jury last night. Runaway Jury is really good. I highly recommend it. Really smart script. Really solid direction and acting. Okay, so we're coming up on noon here. I don't think I can get through the haunted section of the game before the nominees come out. Because there's only 4 minutes until noon, so maybe we break here, and then we... Well, let me at least get to this next room. Let's see. I think I can definitely get to this next room before the clock turns over.
Dirk, save me.
The room sort of reminds you of Toy Story 2's opening. Yeah, it's a little different, but it is. I mean, I get why you make that comparison because it is colorful circular platforms that you must cross to reach the other side and collect a power-up at the end of it. Although, actually, the color aspect, I think, only comes into play in the Toy Story 3 level. Because in Toy Story 3, or, sorry, in Toy Story 2, you step on the platforms, and then at a certain point, they just fucking fall. They all fall. And then the utility belt saves you. But to make it actually fair for a proper video game, they had to change it a bit for the Toy Story 3 version of it. By the way, can we talk about how stupid it is that a Toy Story 2 video game component is present in the Toy Story 3 video game, because that story mode is a fucking mess. Anyway. Got 3 minutes. I got time. Not to beat this whole section, but I can at least get through this level. This level I can definitely get through before the clock turns over. Have I seen the Christmas specials, Frosty the Snowman, or Red-Nosed Reindeer? I think I've seen Frosty the Snowman, but I remember nothing about it. So I may as well have not seen it. And I don't think I've seen... Well, actually, they might have... My music teacher in 6th grade might have shown us the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing. I feel like I have vague memories of that. But nothing super clear. Alright, I got 2 minutes. Can I get to this level? Probably not, because this is the crossbow level. Which means that the whole room is gonna flood after I grab it. And then I gotta retrace my steps. I should play the Toy Story 2 game. I guess I technically probably should. But I, didn't like it that much as a kid, and I, from what I've seen, am not that compelled to revisit it as an adult. Missed the opportunity for a 5 minutes joke. I love how that is both, it's accurate to both, that works for both the Halo show and the Lightyear movie.
Just great. I suppose that's the same for this door.
I don't want to say equally terrible things, but like, they're right next to each other on the spectrum. Haha, one. When am I going to rewatch Moana and see the sequel in theaters? I believe my tickets are booked for the day it comes out. I'll check after. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not. Let's also not waste crossbow shots. Alright, can I get out of this room before it turns to 12:01? It's gonna be close. And our survey says... Alright, I made it out of the room before the clock turned to 12:01. We're gonna count that. We're gonna count that as I made it out before 12:01, before the clock turned. Okay. We'll save there for now, and then we will... where do I have it pulled up somewhere? Here it is. Here's the thing. Alright, Jeff.
Your door.
Nope, we're not showing the chat. We're not doing that. Let's go back to the beginning. Actually, I should probably quit out of this. Oh, hold on. Let me just mute the game. Yeah, I'll mute the game so that you guys can actually hear this.
And the Game Award
goes to. And the winner is.
And the winner is.
10 years ago, we began a journey together to celebrate video games as the biggest, most powerful form of entertainment in the world. And on Thursday, December 12th, right here at Peacock Theater in Los Angeles, we will recognize the best and show you what's next with the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards.
Here we
Hey,
go.
I'm Jeff Keighley, and welcome to the TGA Global Nomination Announcement Special. Today, it is my distinct honor to reveal this year's nominees, recognizing talented game developers from studios big and small around the world. And you can help select the winners by voting right now at thegameawards.com. All right, you've waited long enough, so let's do it. Here are the nominees for the Game Awards 2024. For Best Ongoing Game, the nominees are Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy
See, the problem
14,
with these shows for me Because I just don't
Helldivers
know.
2.
I haven't
Best
played most of
performance
these
nominees
games.
Are
So.
Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure,
Okay.
Umberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws,
Okay.
Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2,
I mean,
and Melina Jurgens, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2.
you know, I haven't played Star Wars
Best
Outlaws,
mobile
but
game, the nominees are
I've seen some
AFK
clips.
Journey, Balatro,
Don't know about that.
Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. The nominees for Best Art Direction are Astrobot,
Okay.
Black Myth Wukong,
Who?
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree,
Uh,
Metaphor Refantasio, and Neva. For Best Score in Music, this year's nominees are Astrobot,
okay.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Refantasio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. In the category of Best Audio Design, these games are nominated: Astrobot,
Okay.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy
Well, here's what's
VII
gonna happen. Astrobot's gonna win
Senua
everything except
Saga,
Game of the Year, because Game of the Year is gonna go
Hellblade
to the Shadow of the
Silent
El
Hill
Tree
2.
thing.
Best Adaptation
Erdtree,
recognizes
whatever it
excellence
is.
in authentically creating shows, movies, and other creative endeavors based on video game worlds. Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation:
Don't do it to me.
Arcane,
Don't do it to me.
Fallout, Knuckles,
Don't do it. Oh,
Like a Dragon Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. Best
the
narrative
Knuckles
in a
show.
game, the TGA nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Fucking
Like a
Knuckles show.
Dragon Infinite Wealth,
I mean, it's not as bad as if the Borderlands movie got nominated, but like,
Senua Saga,
wow.
Hellblade 2,
Wow.
Silent Hill 2. Games for Impact celebrates thought-provoking
Could
games
you
with a
even
profound
imagine
pro-social meaning or message.
If the
Here are
fucking
this
Knuckles
year's
show
nominees.
won.
Closer the Distance,
Oh my god.
Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera, Zao. The nominees for Best Community Support are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite,
Blah.
Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky.
I keep forgetting that
Category
that
of
exists.
Best Multiplayer. The nominees are Call of Duty Black Ops 6,
Blah.
Helldivers 2,
It's probably gonna be Helldivers.
Super Mario Party Jamboree,
I don't.
Tekken 8, and Warhammer
It's
40,000,
not gonna be Mario
Space
Party. It's
Marine
almost
2.
certainly gonna be
Best
Helldivers.
Independent Game celebrates games with a high degree of risk tolerance, as they are produced outside of the traditional publisher system. The nominees are Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. Next is Best
From what I've
Indie
heard,
Indie
those seem
Game,
like
which
solid
recognizes a
indie
development team
nominees.
that hasn't won a game award before. In fact, these teams published their first game in 2024. The nominees are Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. For Best VR AR Game, the nominees are
Budget cuts
Arizona
Ultimate.
Sunshine Remake, Asgard
Well, I guess that came
Wrath
out last
2,
year, I think.
Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. For Content Creator of the Year,
Don't
the
do it.
nominees are
Don't do it.
Queso,
Who?
Illawan,
Who?
Techno Gamer,
Who?
Typical Gamer,
Who?
and Usada Pecora.
Who are any of those
Part of the Game
people?
Awards is looking forward to what's next. And yes, we'll have lots of games to announce on December 12th. But what's the most anticipated upcoming game? Here are the nominees based on currently announced titles: Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6.
There's no way
Prime
Grand.
4
Well,
Beyond,
okay.
And Monster Hunter Wild.
What do you think? Is it
The
going to be
best
Metroid Prime
action
4 or
adventure
GTA
nominees are
6?
Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws.
If
and
Star Wars
The
Outlaw,
Legend
there's
of
no
Zelda:
fucking way.
Echoes of Wisdom. For Best Role Playing, the jury selected Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy.
I don't know why
Rebirth,
there should be a
Like
different
Dragon
category for
Infinite
DLCs.
Wealth, and Metaphor Refantasio. In the category of Best Fighting, the nominees
I mean,
are
okay, I know why,
Dragon
but like
Ball
it's
Sparking
bullshit that
Zero,
there isn't.
Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiversus, and Tekken 8. The nominees for Best Action are Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black
I always feel like
Ops
such a
6,
fake gamer whenever this stuff
Helldivers
happens because
2,
I just haven't played
Stellar
like
Blade,
any of
and
these.
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Innovation in accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. Selected
You're
by a
hoping
special
Astrobot wins the
committee
majority of the nominations.
accessibility experts. The
I
nominees
mean,
for
same, but
innovation
you
in
know it
accessibility
probably won't,
are
unfortunately.
Call of Duty Black Ops
Either
6,
that or it will win
Diablo
almost
4,
all of them and then it'll lose Game of the Year,
Dragon
which is
Age:
usually
The
what
Veilguard,
happens with these things.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. Next up, Best Family Game. The nominees are Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime.
Oh, I completely forgot that
Super
happened.
Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. The Best Sim
I feel like any of
strategy
those could win
nominees
that.
are Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami: Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. This year, these titles are nominated for Best Sports Racing.
Sports/racing has always been
EA
so
Sports
dumb.
FC 25.
Also, who
NBA
cares?
2K25,
Who fucking cares? They're all
Top
the
Spin
same.
2K25, and WWE 2K24.
Who cares? Who cares?
All right, let's take a look at our 3 esports categories. Starting with Best Esports Game. The nominees are
Today's the Game Awards. No,
Counter-Strike
today's
2,
the day the Game Awards get
Dota 2,
the Game Award nominations
League of
or
Legends,
nominees get
Mobile
announced.
Legends Bang Bang, and
We're taking a
Valorant.
very brief break
Nominees for
from
Best Esports Athlete
celebrating
are
Dragons of 3D to check out the
3-3.
nominations. I'm really interested in just what gets nominated for Game of the Year,
Zywoo,
and I don't give one singular
Concom.
shit about any of this.
And for the Best
Esports
Esports team,
crap.
our special esports committee nominated these teams: Billy Gaming, League of Legends; Gen G, League of Legends; Navi, Counter-Strike; T1, League of Legends; and Team Liquid, Dota 2. All right, it's time for our final 2 categories. For Best Game Direction, which recognizes outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design, the nominees are Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. And finally,
Elden Ring
our
doesn't
global
deserve to be
TGA
there.
jury, of which I am not a member, has selected the following 6 games as nominees for Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
I love how he had to
2024.
qualify, of which I am
The
not a
Game of the
member,
Year
as if he has no
nominees
influence
are
over what happens here.
Astrobot from Team Asobi, Balatro from Local Thunk, Black Myth Wukong by Game Science, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree by From Software, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth from Square Enix, and Metaphor ReFantazio from Studio Zero. So there you have it. Those are your nominees for Game of the Year. And yes, that means you'll hear the Game Awards Orchestra, conducted by Lauren Bell, play their themes live on this very stage on December 12th. But before then, you
Was
should
he
go to
always the conductor? That's
gameawards.com
cool.
to help select the winners by casting your ballot in all categories. Also, stay tuned for the announcement of our Player's Voice category, where fans 100% select the winner from 30 nominees. We'll announce those nominees on Monday, December 2nd. The winners in all categories will be revealed
No
live
Last of Us
during
2
the
Sneak,
Game
and
Awards,
also, more
and it's
importantly,
streamed
no
globally
Until Dawn
Thursday,
remake sneak.
December 12th, starting with the opening act at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 12:30 GMT at thegameawards.com. Our team cannot wait to share our 10th anniversary show with you. I hope to see you then. And don't forget to cast your vote.
Until Dawn remake got nothing. Yeah, I knew that there was a pretty low chance of that happening. Like, realistically, the odds of Until Dawn remake getting anything were slim to none. But, you know, they've surprised me before, so I didn't want to put it past them. But I knew realistically, we can meme about it, but odds are, well, it wasn't going to happen. You think Brothership came out too late to qualify? When did it come out again? Because I feel like whenever it came out, it might have been before, when God of War Ragnarok came out in 2022, like, relatively speaking. But I don't know the exact release date. I feel like it would predate Ragnarok's release date in 2022. So I don't know that that would have disqualified it. What is the cutoff point? That's the next thing I don't actually know. Anyway, yeah, so Astrobot got a lot of nominations, which means it's probably going to win a lot of nominations, and then the Game of the Year is going to go to the Elden Ring DLC, which is such shit. There needs to be a separate category for DLC. The fact that a DLC is able to be recognized as a Game of the Year. Ugh. Anyway, yes, now is a good time to go replay Astrobot. Or play it. You know, if you haven't already. If you've not yet played Astrobot and you have the means to do so, then do it. Like, what's wrong with you? We need to start a movement for Ace Attorney Investigations Collections to win players' voice. I think you know as well as I do that that's not gonna happen. Now's a good time to still not purchase a PS5. Correct! Now's a good time to purchase a PS5 Pro instead! The best and most fairly priced and most worthwhile console that has ever been made. That isn't at all a complete and utter waste of money. Do I think Astrobot will ever come to PC? I don't. No, I do not believe that it will come to PC. I feel like if there's anything... I think at this point Astrobot has become Sony's new mascot, and I don't think they would ever... They have been willing to put more of their games on PC in recent years. I don't think that they're going to break that with Astrobot. I think that's the one game that they're never going to relinquish. But they could surprise me. They could indeed surprise me. Oh yeah, let's also not forget that Knuckles, the Knuckles show, was nominated for Best Adaptation. That's so funny. That's so funny. That's so funny. I haven't even seen the show, and I still know that's like, really though. I love it being nominated alongside the other things. Knuckles commentary when... Hey, look, we're still figuring things out, okay? Oh. I think I might have missed something. All the adaptations sucked? Hey, well, hey now. People said the Fallout show was really good. I'm sure it was, and I'm sure it's not just the fact that it looks like the show that made people think it was... good. But I mean, I guess looking like the games, I mean, I'm sure at least looking like the games is still one step better than... Look, at least the Halo show didn't get nominated, okay? That's the real victory here, is that the Halo show didn't get nominated. In neither year that there was a season of Halo released was it nominated for Best Adaptation at the Game Awards. That's the real victory here. The Halo show got appropriately fucked. Also, people say Arcane is, you know, people really love Arcane. People do really love Arcane. So, I guess there's that. I still haven't seen Season 2. I'll probably watch it when all the episodes come out. Does Arcane even count? League of Legends seem very story-heavy. So my understanding of it is that it's a thing where the characters that you can play as have backstories and have lore, and then based on that lore, they've taken it and expanded it into a show. But also, I don't play League of Legends because fuck that, so I'm not the right person to ask. But it's certainly more worthy of being nominated than Gran Turismo was. Because for as good as that movie is, That is not an adaptation of a game. It's not creating a story out of a game. It is creating a movie based around real life events that happen to real people. No shot, Knuckles. No, I mean, of course Knuckles isn't going to win. Obviously, because reasons, Arcane is obviously going to take the crown there. But it's just funny that it even got that far. I bet the people who worked on it are like, wait, even the people who worked on it were like, wait, really? Are you kidding? I mean, I'm sure, okay, we'll take it. But like, are you guys okay? Are we sure? Are we collectively sure about this? I did not want to pull out the crossbow, but that's fine. I don't need it to land. Surely just because there was a spot left. There was a spot left, and it was less terrible than the Borderlands movie. And so therefore it wins by default. Or wins the spot by default, rather. No Shadow Gens. I don't know. Imagine if the Minecraft movie gets nominated for Best Adaptation next year. Hey man, you don't know. The Minecraft movie could be a cinematic... Oh, shit. The Minecraft movie could end up being a cinematic masterpiece. Sorry, right, a Minecraft movie. I keep accidentally calling it the better name. A Minecraft movie comes out. You know, it's not out yet. We wouldn't want to make any judgments about a movie that hasn't come out yet. I'm sure it's going to be. I remember us saying in the LEGO Movie commentary before we had even seen so much as a trailer that I think I said like, hey, you don't know, maybe the Minecraft movie will have a really interesting thematic underlying message that it wants to get across. Because a lot of people were skeptical about the LEGO Movie as well when it came out, and then it did come out and blew everyone away with its profound messaging. And just how amazing it was. So I said, hey, you don't know, maybe the same thing will happen with the Minecraft movie. Everyone thinks it'll be shit, and then it surprises everyone for being a really, really great film. Now that we've seen more trailers, I'm led to believe that might be not what's going to happen. But hey, it's still not out yet. You never know. You never know. Can the Game Awards stop being so late? Well, in fairness to them, it's not. For the place in which it's being broadcast from, it's only like 4:30 p.m. when it starts, so it's not late for them, it's just late for the... What the fuck? No. No. I don't want to update the thing that I don't even have open right now. I don't want to update 4K video downloader. I'm in the middle of playing... Why? That... I don't know what's up with, that app specifically will very frequently just pop up in the middle of me doing something else. Are you sure you don't want to update the thing you don't even have open right now? Yes, I am indeed certain. It's literally not even open on my computer. Maybe it's running in the background or something. I don't know. Shadow Gens has been consistently praised by basically everyone. Well, yes, but it is attached to Sonic Generations Remaster. Like, it's not two separate games. It's Sonic X Shadow Generations. And the Sonic Generations part of the game is a mess. And the deeper into the game I get, the more of a mess it becomes. So that doesn't really surprise me. What the... okay? It's funny how I start talking about how Sonic Generations is a mess, and then something that would happen in Sonic Generations happens right there. Anyway, DLC still counts. No, so I'm not saying that it shouldn't count because it's attached to DLC. I'm saying it shouldn't count, or not that it shouldn't count, but that I'm not surprised it wasn't nominated because Sonic Generations is a mess. The port, the quote-unquote remaster, is filled with technical issues, and I just keep finding more of them the longer I play. I got through Planet Wisp. The only thing I have left to do is the challenges in the third part of the game, and then the final series of bosses, so Egg Dragoon and Time Eater, which I'm very much looking forward to, because that's my favorite part of Sonic Generations. You're still struggling to think of how the Halo show wound up being the way that it did, because they hate the source material. It's pretty much as simple as that. They think the games are for stupid children. They think that it's a mindless shooty bang bang game with no deeper meaning or purpose or artistic merit. And they are intellectual storytellers making high art for adult mature audiences on the television. And so they know how to make meaningful stories, whereas the game makers are just flailing around making games where Chief doesn't have a character, and he just is a vessel for the player, and there is no character development, and there is no story. And I want to kill myself, because I hate that this... You know what, honestly, I can't even be mad anymore, because it's dead. It's gone. It's never, ever coming back. It's a worthless pile of shit that never should have gotten greenlit for a second season in the first place. And as soon as it did get greenlit, they immediately regretted the decision, because it didn't come back for season 3, because everyone knew it was shit, but it was too late to turn back the clock and take back a deal that had already been set in motion years prior. See, sometimes it's a good thing to greenlight more than one season at once, so you can have another one in the can ready to go when the first season becomes a breakout hit. But then sometimes you get a Halo show situation where it ends up being one of the worst things ever created and everyone absolutely hates it. And now you've boned yourself because you've already ordered a second season and you can't pull it back. Great job, Paramount. Is the Halo show the worst adaptation I've seen? The Halo show is the worst anything I've seen. It is still my pick for the absolute worst piece of media I've ever had the displeasure of experiencing. It's vile. Everything about it is worthless. It's awful. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, and I wouldn't even encourage someone to hate watch it for fun. It's just a miserable experience from beginning to end. What? Hey, pal, you want to come back down here? The worst thing that has ever entered Trevor's eyeballs. I was gonna say you don't know how literal that is, but you do know because you've seen the show, so you do know how literal that is. What an awful scene, by the way. What a just blatant torture porn scene. That does not, that's not how it works in the book. It's not how it works in the games. It's literally only there so they can be gritty and adult and edgy and gross. Even worse than Dial of Destiny? Yes. Because at least Dial of Destiny has John Williams music. The music in the Halo... I don't know how you make the music for a Halo property terrible, but you did it. They found a way. They found a way. What scene am I talking about? The scene where Halsey creates Cortana by violently assaulting her clone for no fucking reason at all. Kingdom Hearts 4 should have been nominated for most anticipated game. Oh, I forgot about Kingdom Hearts 4. I still haven't finished Kingdom Hearts 3. And I probably never will. Well, maybe I will, I don't know. I have no interest in completing it at this current point in time. Did I get everything? Yeah. Have I finished any Kingdom Hearts game? No! No, I have not. the closest I've come to finishing a game is Kingdom Hearts 3. I got to the Pirates World and then I stopped. So I think I was close to the end. I had the Big Hero 6 world, and then I had the non-Disney worlds left, where it just goes, it stops being about traveling to Disney worlds and it starts becoming fully just Kingdom Hearts specific lore stuff, which didn't interest me at all. I am transparently, I was only there for the Disney World stuff. That's it. I was there to explore the Toy Story world and Monstropolis and the Kingdom of Corona and Arendelle and all that stuff, and that is the only reason that I played that game. Very transparently, that's why I bought it. And I played the game long enough to get that out of it, and then I stopped. Once I realized that I was pretty much done, because I didn't need to explore the Pirates of the Caribbean world. I haven't even seen more than the first movie, and I didn't really need to explore Big Hero 6 world either, so once I realized I had already gotten what I wanted out of the game, I didn't see a point in continuing when I knew that past that point it was just very, very Kingdom Hearts specific lore drops and that kind of story beats. So, I've not felt compelled to return. Have I seen any story content? I'm not sure I understand the question. You mean, have I looked at any other story, like any other Kingdom Hearts story related material outside of what I learned from playing Kingdom Hearts 3? Was the most iconic theme even part of the show? So in season 1, the first part of the theme song of the show was a very, very borked version of it. Like, they hired a drunk to sing the oh, but they did it like hey, and then that's it, and then that never happened again. And then they had one brief moment in the finale when they had the dun 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 dun, but it's in the background and you almost can't hear it. And they play it when the brute, okay, they play it when so they invent a brute who apparently is supposed to be Atriox, but they never actually tell you it's Atriox. He's named, like, his name is supposed to be Atriox, and it's supposed to be the character, but nothing about him looks like Atriox, nor does he act like Atriox. They don't even call him Atriox. They introduce him in episode 5, and then you never see him again until the final episode when Cortana's like, hey, Chief, remember him? And the answer is no! No, I don't remember him, because you never drew any attention to him. He appeared for like 5 seconds in one episode of the show. We never saw him again, and suddenly you try to play the Warthog Run theme at the moment when he comes back around in the finale, as if it's some big MCU moment when we have no idea who this brute is. None! We have no idea who the brute is. It's so bad. Okay, but then in season 2, they finally realized, oh, maybe we should actually have the Halo theme be the theme of this Halo show. That might be something worth considering. I don't know, just something worth throwing out there. So then for season 2, they did have the Halo 2 version of the theme song, which they still they only played a portion of, and then they turned it into their own stupid thing, because of course they did. But, I could go all day about how much I hate the stupid show. So I will spare you the time. Just don't watch it. You have nothing to gain. If you watch it as a Halo show, you're gonna be fucking pissed because of how they've destroyed such a legendary IP. And if you watch it as someone who has no interest in Halo whatsoever, you're just gonna be bored. Because there's nothing, it's not an interesting show, it's not a very exciting show, there's nothing to it that is worth watching, whether you're a fan of the show or not. Because sometimes, with adaptations, you can be like, if you know nothing about the source material, you can probably enjoy this. Halo isn't one of them. It's just, it fails on both ends. I don't know who, their target audience is people, I guess, who just hate games. Because, like, they talk about how they want to expand Halo to a broader audience, which is why it has almost nothing to do with the source material. And they tried, like, they had a big thing where they were like, Season 2 is going to be different than Season... We've heard your feedback, we're going to react to criticism, we're going to... More action, more of all this stuff. But it's just Season 1 again. It's just the same... I went the wrong way. It's just the same shit as Season 1, but worse. Some of it's better, some of it's worse. They didn't learn shit from Season 1. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now because I can go all day about how much I hate that fucking show. Let's talk about something, Happy. Okay, funniest moment in Hell of the Boss so far. Probably the first episode of the show, honestly. When, at the very end, when that explosion happens. Or in the first scene when the teacher just goes fucking bananas. Those were probably my biggest laugh out loud moments, were in that very first episode. The first episode is nuts, man. It is off the walls cuckoo nutty. Dirk's flying animation is funny to look at. I think part of it has to do with the Dan Molina's voice delivery. Like, listen to him when he flies. It's hard to hear over the music, but the he's just a living, I mean, he is a cartoon character, so it makes sense, but like, he is the embodiment of a cartoon. Everything he does is just so goofy. I love it.
Dirk, I hear the Lizard King, but I can't see where he is.
Fortunately, we have the Dragon's Eye, so we can show you. Oh, I'd also make it so that this is less motion sickness inducing. I guess the idea behind why this is so disorienting, the Dragon's Eye, is that you're not supposed to use it, like, you're not supposed to always have it on, you're supposed to have it on in very specific situations to check to see if there's a door. But even that, it's kind of jarring to look at. I'd probably make that less... Hi there, how you doing? I'd probably make that less motion sickness inducing if I were to remake this game. Alright, heart container, treasure... Alright, what did I miss while I was ranting about, Halo show? Any specific Kingdom Hearts story from previous games? So, here's a fun fact about me. Before Kingdom Hearts 3, because I was talking to my friend in high school, and I told her I was going to be, playing Kingdom Hearts 3 because of the Toy Story World and all that stuff. And then she's like, she looked at me dumbfounded like, are you aware of all the story that you don't know? Like, I would not advise you to go into 3 without playing 1 and 2. So I did the only sensible thing, which is I went on a massive lore binge, and I devoured any recap videos I could find. I read through synopsises of the first 2 games, and I read it, and then I transcribed it myself, because it's more effective to remember it if you, instead of just reading it and trying to memorize it, if you retranscribe it yourself in your own notation. So I read it, I retyped it in my own wording, and then I committed that to memory, and I just reread that again and again and again. So I had at least some familiarity with the story. And it turns out it didn't really matter much, because most of the story, or at least most of my engagement with the story came from those Disney worlds. There was a little bit at the beginning where I was like, okay, I know what this is, I know what you're referring to, I know what events you're talking about that happened before. But it didn't end up, like, I would have been fine if I had just started 3 without knowing anything. At least for the purposes that I wanted to play the game for, I would have been fine if I didn't know anything. That being said, by now I have completely forgotten all of it. I have not had any reason to keep those stories in my brain for any longer than I needed to. So, if you were to quiz me on them now, I would not do very well. But there was a point in time when I knew my stuff in regards to Kingdom Hearts. Favorite Disney villain? If out of everything under the Disney brand, which it's Bellows, but as far as Disney animated movies, it's Jafar. I should get into it again. I probably will when Kingdom Hearts 4 is close to coming out. That's usually what I do, is when a new thing is on the horizon, I will re-familiarize myself with the previous entries in the series. I'm gonna do that with Mission Impossible as well when the 8th movie comes out. The 8th and final movie comes out next May. Going from the end of 2 to 3 will just leave you confused. Now, where have I heard that before? Halo sequel trilogy, is that you? I used to be able, there's a glitch you can do in this level, where if you skip the cutscene, and then, like, mash your buttons, you can still keep your weapons before the pot runs out of the room. Because, like, the pot seals your weapons in the cutscene, and there is a safeguard in place to make sure he still takes your stuff even if you skip the cutscene. But there is a way to glitch it so where you can hold on to them even if you do skip the cutscene. It's a very precise trick, so I used to be a lot better at pulling it off than I am now when I was a kid. But a glitch that does still work, or by which I mean a glitch that I can still do consistently, is go to the corner, turn around, and it can't do anything to you. We call that the cheese spot to end all cheese spots. Did I miss anything? Nope, we're all set. Favorite historical topic? I am not a history person. I'm the wrong person to ask. The person to ask that question would have been Joe in yesterday's stream, because he is big into history. That's how I knew for certain, without even asking him, I knew for certain that he would have watched Oppenheimer, but I am the opposite of a history major, or a buff. Or I'm not. History was always, like, history, technically speaking, should have been my easiest class in school, because it's literally just memorization, and I have a very strong memory. But it doesn't matter how good your memory is if you just don't give a shit about what you're trying to memorize, and I did not give a shit about anything I learned in any of my history classes, except for my World History 2 class my sophomore year, because that teacher made history genuinely interesting to learn from. Which is not something that I can say for any of the other teachers I've ever had for history. Is Over the Edge still one of my favorite games? I'd say so, but I don't know if I would put it on the top 20 list. I'm still quite fond of the Over the Hedge game. But there are lots of things I've played recently that would probably knock it out of that list. If it's history regarding a subject you're passionate about, that's a different story. Oh yeah, so like, the history, I am, the idea of history and that learning the events that led to a certain point in life and like all the events that dominoed into getting people to a certain position, that is fascinating. And for things, like you mentioned, like film, like the history of video games and the history... I did take a course in college about the history of video games, and that was interesting. But also that's because I was just reading a book on my own because it was a virtual class because of the pandemic. But yeah, that stuff, the history of films, the history of animation, if I had to pick one topic... In fact, I wrote my my English paper. There's a big project that all students in my high school had to do. The name of which I won't specify, because if I tell you the name of what the project was, that probably gives it away. Like, I think it's a very specific, a thing very specific to my school was like the name of that project. But it was a very long research paper, or at least very long by most students' standards. Obviously, I've written way longer things in my life, as you can probably guess. But it was a very lengthy, like 25 page research paper we had to write. About any historical topic we chose of our choosing. And the idea is that you had to pick a decade from the 21st century and talk about something from that decade and how it had evolved and how it changed over the years. And I chose animation in like the early days of, well, I wanted to do the Renaissance era of Disney animation, but I think it had to be before the 90s or the 80s. It had to be like early 20th century. So I went with that, but like and I chose that because if there's one type of historical topic that I'm most passionate about, it would be the history of animation. if I can make an animated show, what would I do? I have full documents of things of that nature that I am going to keep very close to my chest in case I ever get the chance to do something like that one day. What were my favorite subjects of school, actually? So, it's very dependent on the teacher in question. Like, on paper, my film classes and my computer science classes should have been my favorites. And yet, they ended up being my least favorites because the teachers for both of them blew dick. So it mostly came down to the teacher in question. But generally speaking, I would say the, English was one that I like, for instance, I actually, you know what, I remember writing my final project for my AP English class in senior year of high school was summarizing your experience with English classes throughout high school and how those experiences have changed you. And what I realized by writing that is that despite English being a topic I'm passionate about because it's mainly focused on reading and writing, which is something I love to do, I hated pretty much all my English classes for one reason or another. Sometimes because the teacher sucked, sometimes because the class structure sucked. So, yeah, like, as far as favorite subjects are concerned, I guess that would qualify, but the classes themselves were terrible. Inversely, I am fascinated by chemistry, but I've always been I'm much more proficient with physics than I am with chemistry. But I liked my chemistry class more than my physics class, because my physics class was basically just, you have to teach, like, the teacher for my physics class, my AP physics classes in high school, very sweet old man, but he should not have still been teaching, because he basically would just throw problems up on the board, and then you basically had to figure things out yourself as you went along. He didn't really teach you much of anything. It was pretty much just, it was up to you to learn the material yourself. Whereas my chemistry class, the teacher was very knowledgeable and very passionate, so I had a lot more fun with that class than I did with my physics class. And biology is my least of the three big science topics you learn in high school, those being biology, chemistry, and physics. Biology is the one that I was always least interested in, but it was a class I really loved because the teacher really knew her stuff and was really fun and made learning the topic engaging for us. So that's a big determining factor when it comes to subjects and classes in high school. I also liked, I guess my Spanish teacher. My first ever Spanish teacher in 6th grade was awful, but then my 8th and 9th grade teachers for Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 were fantastic. Sophomore year for Spanish 3 wasn't, I loved the teacher. I honestly, of all the teachers, my 10th grade Spanish 3 teacher was probably one of my favorites. He was a really nice guy, really charming personality. We got along really well, and we eventually had a little back and forth banter thing where I would always, because I found out through some natural conversation that he was a big fan of Seinfeld, so we had a thing where every day in class we would quiz each other on a random piece of Seinfeld trivia, and that persisted even until last year when I went to go visit my high school, and we still did that thing. I was at homecoming. I was walking into the homecoming ballroom area with FG, and then the teacher stopped me before we went in, and we had on the spot we had a Seinfeld quiz trivia thing, which I'm sure FG really appreciated. Thoughts on cause for accidentally getting leaked at D23 Brazil? That was confirmed to be false. It's not happening. I don't need to worry about it right now. If it happens in the future, we'll cross the bridge when we get to it, but it's not a thing right now. Will I make an updated version of my favorite and least favorite games list? At some point, probably. I don't know when, though. Thoughts on Ice Age 6 announcement? It needs to stop. I hate that it's still going.
Speechless, I see.
Have I ever had classes on religion? Thankfully, no.
It's nice to be free again. It was quite stuffy inside Waldrock's little cage.
Nothing against religious people. I'm just not religious myself, and I would crave death if I ever had to take a religious class.
You see, I tried to sneak into this little treasure room in search of that wonderful sword you're holding.
Favorite sitcom?
It has qualities that may help
Seinfeld, unless you count Phineas and Ferb as an animated sitcom, in which case Phineas and Ferb.
friends. Former allies, serving our long-departed master, Maldrock the Magician, someone I believe you're familiar with. Long ago, Maldrock ruled this land with the help of 6 magical essences. Essences he claimed by poison.
Your science classes in high school were a big fan of Stranger Things, so you had to complete worksheets with references from the show. That's awesome.
Good magician.
That's honestly, like, what a teacher should do
Needed the essences to be
to get their students more interested in something. That was what my 8th grade Algebra 1 teacher would always, whenever she would teach mathematic concepts to us, she would usually do it through the lens of some kind of pop culture thing. A popular movie or show or something along those lines.
time went by.
Or if not that, then with a visual reference where it involves a lot of kids in the class. So it was a much more visually engaging way for us to learn something than just dry, lifeless lectures about math topics.
He worked so hard to steal.
I always like when teachers actually incorporate things like that into their lessons.
Seeing as our former master did not need
My AP government teacher in senior year, he would...
and I took it upon ourselves.
He basically didn't have, like, he had a lesson plan, but it was a very malleable one. Because the whole idea is that it was government politics, and it happened
But thanks to
in the
Princess
middle of the 2020 election, not in the middle of it, but as the campaigning for that was starting to ramp up, that was when I was in that class. So because of that, there was always a lot of things happening in the news for us to talk about, and he based a lot of his lessons around those topics, so it was more relevant to our lives rather than just reading strictly off of a textbook. And then the exams and the essays and stuff like that were... They couldn't have been pre-scripted in advance. They couldn't just be tests he had in a can somewhere, ready to spring on the students at predetermined dates in a semester timeline, because they were all written and themed around like events that would have happened sometimes as recently as the day before the test was actually supposed to be.
I found myself playing solitaire for a while. Had it not been for you. I see.
Dealing with a politics class during an election in Florida sounds like actual hell.
I myself
The less said about this, the better, but
would you like to have it?
people got spirited.
I just bet you
I'll just
would.
leave it at that.
Well, I'm sorry, but I've become quite accustomed to it. But alas, I must be going now, taking my essence with me. Thank
Most
you
of our
very
first
much
Spanish
for
teachers were
my
Dora the Explorer.
Oh, and by the way,
Yeah, actually.
your sword and essences with me as well. Now, don't make this difficult. It will hurt
Less if you just surrender them. So be it, knight. Have it your way. Hot takes said in the past that I take back now. I guess the go-to one would be I'm withholding any further comments on Sonic Heroes or Adventure 2 until I replay them. But I'm not replaying Shadow the Hedgehog. I will never touch that game again. I don't care what, I'm not doing it. I'm simply not doing it. Okay, let's stock up. Does that get us back to full? It does not. We need mana potions. You never knew Dog of the Blood was heavily disliked? I don't think I knew it when I was a kid either. Or maybe I did. I knew what IMDb was from a very early age, so I probably did look at the score on IMDb. I just was never, like, I wasn't on social media really much at all, or at least not active. Like I followed some people on Twitter when I was in middle school, but I didn't really use it all that regularly. I used it a bit more consistently when I started up high school, so I wasn't aware of how people were like actively reacting to those kinds of shows. And it might have been a better time when I wasn't actively aware of, when I was just taking something in on its own merits and I wasn't worried about what anyone else was saying about a piece of media. Shadow Gems was able to summarize 05 from like 2 short sentences. It's that pointless. But it's edgy. And Shadow holds a gun. And Maria gets fucking shot. You know, that's what people want to see. I can't wait for her to not get shot in Sonic 3 and for people to lose their collective fucking minds. I mean, she'll still die, obviously, but like, it's not gonna be with a gunshot. And people are gonna be fucking pissed. And I can't wait. It's gonna be so great. Will I watch Ice Age 6 regardless? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't want to watch the Buck Wild movie anyway. It just ended up happening. And then I immediately regretted my decision. I don't know. We'll see what the story looks like, I guess. Have I played Disney Universe? Don't think I have, no. I downloaded Disney Heroes because I saw that Luz was a character in it. In fact, she's currently I find this really funny. The 2 characters who are on the app cover icon for the game are Luz Noceda and then the fucking sheep from Zootopia. Why? I don't know, but they are. Or at least I haven't updated the app. I don't know if it even has an update, so at least with the version of it that I currently have, those are the 2 characters that are on the front. Which is just so funny. That's so funny to me.
Be warned, Dirk. Strong as your armor is, it
Can't have one without the other. Yeah, it's like 2 peas in a pod. They get along like a house on fire. Luz Noceda from the Owl House and the sheep from Zootopia.
I'm glad that... Be warned.
You don't know what's worse, her not getting shot and everyone complaining, or her getting shot and everyone cheering? I think it would be funny either way. I can't, it's like, you don't understand. Well, I went to the Sonic Symphony Orchestra, and they played a lot of footage from Shadow the Hedgehog, because they played a lot of Shadow-based songs, because it's the fearless year of Shadow, and all that stuff. And, which meant that because the footage of Shadow the Hedgehog was looping every single goddamn time. Every single time. I think it happened like 3 times. And every single time they erupted in applause and whoops and hollers. It's just... that orchestra was quite an experience. I mean, at least it wasn't as bad as it was in the first act, because in the first act it was entirely instrumental, you know, symphony numbers, medleys of the tracks from the Sonic games without any of the lyrical stuff. And they were cheering for the game. They weren't even cheering for the music. They were cheering for the footage being shown on screen. They were cheering for the Chows being in a race. They were cheering for Sonic almost drowning in Labyrinth Zone. They were cheering, I kid you not, the second a single frame of Sonic Adventure 2 was put up on that screen, they lost their collective fucking mind. It's embarrassing. It's insane. It's genuinely worse than any Marvel audience I ever saw react to one of the movies. Anyway, I'm excited for Sonic Movie 3. Much shit as I talk about the Sonic community. I am looking forward to Sonic 3. Not looking forward to seeing the discourse about it, but I am looking for... People are already upset that it's gonna be, like, it's only quote unquote gonna be an hour and 49 minutes or whatever, as if that's short. I mean, I guess it's short compared to Oppenheimer or Interstellar or something, but like, I don't think people understand that that's not a short amount of time for a movie. People are like, it should have been at least 2 hours. I'm like, okay, Sonic 2 was 2 hours. What did Sonic 2 have again? Oh, right, it had a worthless subplot about the wedding that everyone really, really loved. It releases on Christmas here. It releases close to Christmas here. I think it comes out the 20th? That sounds right. I'm pretty sure it comes out the 20th. Let me check the calendar real quick. Yeah, it comes out the 20th. I mean, it technically comes out the 19th because every single release date is always one day behind of when it actually... Like, you can get tickets for the afternoon and evening of the 19th, even though it technically only releases on the 20th, but you know what I mean.
Smithy's statues are immune to all but fire.
Do I have a blue sky? Yes, I do. What do I think about making a long every episode of X Show reviewed like Ellis Mark? I don't know what show. I mean, it could be fun to do, but I don't really have a desire. The only thing I was considering doing was making a video ranking every episode of The Owl House. But I feel like I've already said everything I have to say about that. I mean, there are things that I could say that are episode specific rather than talking about the show as a whole like I did in that video. But I feel like I've kind of exhausted my Owl House currency as far as content I can make about it on the channel. I could do it, maybe Phineas and Ferb, and maybe I'll do something for Phineas and Ferb when the new season's about to come out. That could be a fun project, revisiting the show in anticipation of seasons 5 and 6. I don't know, I'm not opposed to it, just no current plans to do anything like that. Ah, I tried. Here, let me take care of all of you first before I do anything else. Easy mode. Shadow Gen's Dark Beginnings is able to portray Maria getting shot perfectly well. You don't see why Sonic 3 couldn't do it, just hope you don't have to deal with Sonic fans. Oh, you will. Believe me, you will. But at least, I mean, at least I guess all Sonic fans can come together in harmony to fight back against the people who are campaigning for Mufasa above Sonic 3, because what an actual joke. Do I prefer Monopoly or Uno? So I'm biased towards Monopoly because I played Monopoly a lot when I was a kid. And even though Monopoly is entirely luck, I don't know, I find it very, very charming. But I did have a lot of fun playing Uno with people in high school. So, I'd still probably say Monopoly overall, though. Have I ever witnessed classmates in school think it's funny to hate on other groups? Well, I mean, you're always going to encounter assholes in school. That's just inevitable. You're going to encounter groups of people in school, both middle school and high school, who just... In middle school, it was more people who didn't treat any kind of nerdy activity with any level of reverence. In high school, I mean, like I said, bullying is inevitable. You're always going to find those types of people. But as far as, like, targeted discrimination against people, honestly, I went to a pretty accepting high school. Like, I never... Well, I mean, I should say that I'm not a part of any marginalized group, so I can't speak to this, so I wouldn't be able to tell if, I guess I'm not the best source for whether this was going on, but to my knowledge of because I was close to a lot of people who would identify themselves as part of the LGBTQ community, but, I wasn't witness to any of that stuff. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, it's just that if it wasn't overbearing, I guess is what I'd say. That Mufasa Twitter account. I mean, I kind of feel bad that, like, I mean, it looks shit to us, but if by some if for some reason you are genuinely excited over Mufasa, then that's cool. I hope you enjoy it. I do kind of feel bad that, like, if you're actually excited for that movie, it's just you're getting routinely clowned on by everyone because, you know, the movie looks like shit. But then again, I don't feel as bad because the account isn't just, like, if it was just trying to get people excited about Mufasa, I'd be fine with that. That's cool, whatever. You're following your passion for a movie you really want to see. That's it's cool. I respect it, but that's not really what that account. It's very much Mufasa good at the expense of Sonic 3. It is very, very interested in being like, Mufasa, The Lion King 2019 made more money than both Sonic movies combined, and a lot of that kind of rhetoric. So I'm like, all right, well, I was going to give you a pass, but I don't. You're not here to exclusively hype up Mufasa. You're here to drag down Sonic 3 as well. You can do one without the other. But, whatever, you do you. Not my concern. I really don't care. I'm not seeing Mufasa. I don't care what happens. Well, okay, I can't say I don't care what happens. I will be very, very disappointed if that movie, 1, doesn't flop, and 2, earns more than Sonic 3. That will be incredibly distressing to me. But I'm not, like, actively invested in the war between Sonic 3 and Mufasa, I guess. Do I like any Lion King content besides the 1994 movie? I like the sequel, and I like Lion King 1.5. The CC Nisawa song from the Lion Guard is pretty good. I haven't actually seen the Lion Guard show. Oh, and I like the Timon and Pumbaa Virtual Safaris. I've seen a lot of clips of the Timon and Pumbaa show on Twitter, and I've been meaning to actually sit down and watch that for a long time now. Because, like, I love Timon and Pumbaa, and it seems like I don't know how you could possibly screw up a show all about Timon and Pumbaa. That seems like the easiest win in the history of wins. But who knows? Stay anonymous, and see you, Gugonic. Thanks for stopping by. It sucks that Disney doesn't care about LGBTQ representation. You don't even... Remember at the beginning of the stream when I said I didn't want to turn this into a shitting on Disney stream? Well, forget that. I'm gonna shit on Disney now. Because I am still fucking pissed about that whole situation. Any illusion that Disney was secretly all very, very interested and invested in making sure LGBTQ groups got represented in their stories, that's... You cannot make that claim anymore. It is very abundantly obvious that they don't give a singular shit about anything other than their bottom line. They will hype up diversity and representation to the as long as they possibly can until the very second that it doesn't make them money anymore. The instant that praising representation is no longer profitable for them, they will drop it like a hot potato. Like it doesn't matter to them at all. And the clearest instance of that is the most recent episode of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur that was all focused on transphobia, which is a really important thing for young kids to see. Okay, I don't usually like to draw attention to this because it's like, people can say whatever shit on Twitter they want, and it's like, it's better to just ignore it and move on than it is to waste your time engaging with stupid people. But enough people seem to believe this that I think it's worth addressing. Someone on Twitter was like, good, this episode shouldn't have been shown because the thing is, it wasn't even like, you shouldn't show this because transphobia. It was, you shouldn't show this because it's in a kid's show, and if it's in a kid's show, it's automatically going to be watered down compared to what it would be if it was in an actually mature adult show. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, if anything, being in a quote-unquote kid show just makes it more important for young people to see and connect with and understand, and serve as a jumping off point for starting those kinds of conversations with other people. But no, that's not what people believe in, I guess. As if them canceling Owl House isn't... Oh yeah, and don't even... Anyone who ever tried to tell me that the reason the Owl House was canceled wasn't because of Disney's bigotry I demand a formal apology. Also, I think this level is... I think this is bugged. It's not triggering. You're supposed to be able to... When you activate all of those at once, it's supposed to open the door, but it didn't open the door. I think it's, I think it was bugged. Have I played 40 Winks? I don't know what that is. So yeah, I don't... One, as I think I've made abundantly clear at this point, I don't think so little of animated content, even on a network that is primarily for younger audiences like this. See, now it's working. Like, technically speaking, Disney Channel is primarily targeted towards younger audiences, but, like, you know how demeaning it is to look at a show like Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur? Which, by the way, I haven't even seen. I'm just defending it on principle. Like, the amount... you can tell that people poured their hearts and souls into that show, especially when tackling topics as relevant and serious as the transphobia that was in the most recent episode. And then to have it just be belittled as, oh, it's just kids' content. It's never gonna be taken seriously for when you try to water it down so that kids can understand. It's like, how stupid do you think kids are? To where you genuinely think this is just beyond them, unless you boil down the issue. So, it's... Every time someone says animation is just for kids, I add another animated movie or show to my watch list and remove a live-action movie just out of spite. Because I'm so fucking sick of an entire medium of storytelling being disrespected because people are too stuck in their ways to comprehend animation as anything more. To have a dichotomy of, are you watching a real movie or are you watching a cartoon? And that being, that's just... I should stop before I lose my mind any further. Have I played Sphinx the Cursed Mummy? No. Never heard of it before. Because I don't trust myself, I'm going to save here. I found that when I do save there, I always make it first try, but when I don't save is when I die, and I have to redo the whole level. Almost your entire favorites list is animated movies. Some would say that means you need to watch more movies, and that you need to stop watching cartoons made for babies. Favorite board game? Captain Sonar. Easy answer, Captain Sonar. You need a lot of people to play it, and in order to get the most out of the experience, you do need a large group, at least 6 players, preferably 8, but it's worth it. If you can get a group of people that is that large and also that actively want to play the game and want to actually take it seriously, it's a very, very fun time. What'd you miss? Shitting on Disney for pulling an episode focused on transphobia because they themselves are transphobic. And I love how their defense was, we did not pull this episode because the character is trans. It's like, okay, then what was the reason? What was the reason, Disney? What was the reason, Disney? Are you gonna tell us? No, you're not. You know you're not gonna tell us. It's like, it definitely wasn't this reason, but also we will not provide you an alternative explanation. I'm sorry, I said we weren't gonna shit on Disney today, and then we did, because it's too easy. They keep doing stupid shit that makes it so easy to shit on them. Because they just suck so much. They suck so much ass. I hate them. It's mind-blowing to me how if you ask me when I was a kid if I loved Disney, I'd be like, of course I love Disney. They make all the best stuff. They're amazing, and I love them, and they're magical and amazing. And now, as an adult, I'm like, you fucking rats. You worthless rats. Vile, vile people. Oh my god. Okay, camera, work with me here. It's just funny how things change. As you grow older and you learn. You lose that innocent sense of wonder that you had when you were a kid. About all these massive corporations and none of them have your best interest at heart. I ran right into that. Not my best play. Not my best play in the world. Wow, I survived that with like 1 pip of health left. And I'm not doing too hot on health potions, so I will use up my dragon spirit and then just stock up on mana potions instead. Have I seen all 62 or 63 mainline Walt Disney Studios movies? I have not, honestly. I honestly have not. In fact, while I am very, very well versed in Pixar's catalog, I'm not that well versed in Disney's catalog. Like, I haven't seen a lot of the earliest Disney Studios movies. Which might be a fun project to rank all of the Walt Disney Animation Studios movies. Just because, like, for Pixar, I've seen all of them, so it would just be a matter of, like, putting my thoughts down on paper for a ranking video. But for Disney Animation Studios, I really am not that familiar with a lot of their movies. Like, I haven't seen most of the early 2000s. I only saw Lilo and Stitch for the first time recently. I haven't seen Brother Bear, Home on the Range, or Treasure Planet, Atlantis, the early stuff. So I haven't seen Pocahontas, but I mean, I don't think I'm missing out on anything there. I haven't seen Meet the Robinsons. There's a lot of... I've seen a lot of the Renaissance, or most of the Renaissance, and I've seen the modern Disney. From, like, Bolt onwards is when I was, like, started to actively follow Disney. And I've seen pockets of their stuff from the 20th century, but not the majority. I wonder... I should have run the numbers on how many of their movies, statistically speaking, that I have actually seen versus how many I haven't.
Watch out the door. But you'll find your way.
Can a lot of movies be called animated now due to over-reliance on CGI? Well, I mean, that's where the line gets blurry. As far as, like, most... Because Marvel movies, for instance, are more CG. Most of it is filmed on a blue screen. They're more CGI than they are live action. So... the line gets really blurry when you start to factor that stuff in. Especially because a lot of times, there's a lot of CGI that you just don't know about. Like, in Top Gun Maverick, for instance, while they did absolutely film in actual fighter jets, they did actually send the actors up, and there wasn't... They didn't green screen anything in. They did... train they put the actors through rigorous training to send them up in real fighter jets, not flying them, obviously, just in the cockpit or in the passenger seat so that they could get their real reactions to experiencing the G-forces. That all did happen, but a lot of the terrain around them was CGI'd. A lot of the enemy fighters they were shooting down was CGI'd. That is not a... They filmed as much of it as practically as they could so that they could get the actors' real reactions and that it would feel real for the audience. But that's not... Like, there's a lot of VFX artists that worked on that movie. So, but you would still not... You still wouldn't call that an animated movie. It's just a stigma associated with, like... A world that is entirely created without any... live action input, I guess, is where people would mostly draw the line. And if there isn't anything real to grab onto, then a lot of people are just turned away because they don't... I don't know, I guess... People just have this stigma where they think that cartoons are just for kids. And even, like... Even within the realm of cartoons that are primarily designed for really young children, like Bluey, there is a clear distinction between something like Bluey and something like... I don't know... I don't even know, Cocomelon, I guess, would be the go-to example. Like, brain rot versus preschool shows that people actually put a lot of it. Like, I just imagine any of the people who would say, who actively believe that cartoons are for babies, they aren't real stories, there's nothing serious about them, they're just brain rot shit that you turn on to get kids to shut up for. I'm still not over when those assholes at the Oscars are like, animated movies are things that kids enjoy and adults enjoy. Like, fuck off. Genuinely go fuck yourselves. You're just shitting on an entire medium of storytelling. Some of which, it's really, really awkward when Naomi Scott was one of the people on stage for that, and she was starring in the live-action remake of Aladdin. It just really stings when people say that kind of shit. But I'm just imagining any of these people sitting in a room with the people who made something like Into the Spider-Verse or The Wild Robot. Like, imagine sitting in a room with the people who made The Wild Robot and going, man, when are you gonna make a real movie? Like, when are you gonna make something that isn't for literal 5-year-olds? Or, alternatively, if they said, man, my 5-year-old really loves that movie. I mean, I you know, it's not for me, because I'm a big, strong man who respects true art and true cinema. But, you know, for babies, it's pretty good, it's pretty good. Like, do you really think they would accept that as a compliment? Do you really think these people are only thinking about kids? Like, of course, they have to make it so that it's palatable for kids, because, like, Disney movies and DreamWorks movies a lot of young kids do go to see them. But, so, like, they can't show anything that were, like, like, scar them for life. Like, I don't think they would ever show someone's skin being peeled off one piece at a time, for instance. Nor would they show anything that's, like, sexually gratuitous. But there's a difference between showing content that would, like, that is far beyond a children's innocence range, I guess, and showing, like, tackling more mature topics that they are absolutely mentally equipped to understand. But people just people just don't get that. They don't get it. They won't allow themselves to empathize with anyone who has that perspective. Anyway, have you played Cars 2 game? Yes, not a fan. The only Cars game I really like is the first one, where you had an open world to explore, where you could drive around all of Radiator Springs and Ornament Valley and Tailfin Pass and just go wherever you wanted, complete all. You can either stick to the main story or do a bunch of side objectives. It felt more open than the Cars 2, which felt more mission-driven. Cars 3 as well kind of felt mission-driven. Played Cars 3 game. Yep, played that as well. I put it down almost immediately because I had a lot of the same problems I had with the Cars 2 game were present in the Cars 2 game. Really the only... Like I said, it's really just the first one is the one that I enjoy. I need to try to actually stick a landing up there. Got it. We're good. We're good. Look you in the eye and tell me that The Incredibles, Lost Wish, and Cook Minute 2 are all just for kids. Well, see, the problem is that, like, there's another category of people who will begrudgingly admit that sometimes animated movies can be for adults, or, like, animation can be for adults. But then the example they always point to is something like Family Guy, or Rick and Morty, or stuff like that. They won't consider... A lot of people in that subgenre of animation haters, I guess, they believe animation can be for adults, but they also believe that if it has the term Disney... If Disney's name is on the poster, or DreamWorks' name is on the poster, then that automatically disqualifies it for them from being any kind of serious art. There's a lot of layers to how stupid this whole discussion is, and how fucking sick of it I am. And, like, there's a lot of live-action movies that I would love to cover on the channel and talk about how great they are. But the problem is that, like, one... I've made an audience around animated movies, which is fine, because I'm very, as you might be able to tell, I'm very passionate about animation, so, you know, it's not like I, have to force myself to talk about animated movies. I could do that forever, if I would love to do that forever. But there are also plenty of movies that I would love to talk about that are not animated, but where I was going with that is that it's a result of just my audience not really being more partial to animation than they are to live action, but also just out of spite. I would rather, because there's apparently there is still such a stark stigma against animation that it just makes me want to make videos supporting animation even more. And then the other subgenre of people is those who are like, it's fine if you watch quote-unquote kids shows, and by that they mean animated shows, but if you actually take time to analyze them, then that's weird. It's annoying. It's annoying. Have I seen The Prince of Egypt? Yes, I have. I have now seen all of DreamWorks' movies. I still need to rewatch How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3 to get an updated stance on how I feel about that movie, or those movies. But I have at least seen every single DreamWorks movie made by the studio, which means I'm not counting Megamind 2 or Joseph King of Dreams or anything like that. Of all the mainline studio movies, I have seen all of them at least once. I knew that was a risky jump. Have I seen any Don Bluth animated films? No, but I probably should, given how highly I hold this game and the original Dragon's Lair. Well, I guess, I mean, technically, Dragon's Lair is technically an animated short film. I say technically because it is a game that you have to play, but, like, if you remove... Like, the game does, at least in the home version, the game does give you the option to just watch it. With no player input, it gives you the ability to just watch it as if it were an animated short. Like a 10-minute animated short. Why did I jump? I knew that was going high. So if you count Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace, then yes, but I imagine you probably don't count those when you talk about Don Bluth's films, so no, I haven't. Opinion on The Legends of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, have I played it? I have not played it, and I'm very far away from getting to that game. I still haven't played Majora's Mask. The only Zelda game I've played to completion is Ocarina of Time, which is amazing. The more I've thought about it, the more I've come to appreciate it. In fact, I actually have a hankering to I might replay that game this Christmas. I've had an itch to go back and revisit Ocarina of Time recently. But that's still the only Zelda game I've played from beginning to end. Thoughts on Electric Dragon 505? I don't think I have any. The name seems familiar, but I don't know why. Thoughts on Animat? Him I might... Did he make the, Animat Cloudy with... No, not Anime Cloud. Animat... Not Animated Cloud. Oh, that's him. Okay, right. That's why I know that name. Yes, so I have seen his Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs review. I watched it with Gugonic and Avert, and we were not impressed with what we saw. But it's an old review, so I don't want to use it as an indication of him as a content creator or as a person. But based on that one video, I was not impressed with what I saw. Chameleon's motivation is insulting and offensive to those with high disabilities. It's also just inconsistent. It's incongruent with Kung Fu Panda, because, like, they didn't want me to learn Kung Fu because, or they rejected me because I was too small or whatever. It's like, okay, so, Mantis? Viper? Are we just gonna pretend that they don't exist now? So we can have this stupid villain? It's really, really annoying, because... Like, as far as one thing that the Kung Fu Panda movies have always done really, really well, except for the third one, but, like, Tai Lung and Lord Shen are phenomenally well-written villains. So, and Kai wasn't really great in 3, but at least he was, you know, somewhat menacing. In 4, the villain is simply shit, and she doesn't make sense with the rest of the Kung Fu Panda movies. It's really, really annoying. I need to watch Transformers 1, people stop asking about it. It's not gonna stop people from asking, unless I make a video on it, people are still gonna ask me. But you're right, I probably should watch Transformers 1. at some point. Much as I really don't want to, because I just don't care about Transformers, I probably should. If for no other reasons, then so I can be knowledgeable about the best animated feature, because that's like the one I'm the most of all the Oscar nominations. The one I'm you can probably guess this. The one I'm most passionate about is the best animated feature category. So I should probably at least be up to snuff on that front when those come out. Why was the Cloudy review bad? We would need to rewatch it to give you more firm reasoning, but I just remember it being a lot of it was focused on the art style, which I mean, it's hard for us to quantify that because our style is a lot less definitive than things like plot and character. But I remember a lot of the claims he was making didn't seem very fair, and as far as his understanding of the story and characters, that I remember just not feeling that was very, very inaccurate to what the story was actually about. But again, I need to rewatch it to give you more firm belief, but I haven't. I don't really want to watch it again. I think I saw someone make a video response to it, so if you want to check that out, I guess you can. That might give you a better idea of why it was very rough. But we were very frustrated. It's funny, actually, that you bring it up, because I remember that was the same night that Guganic was playing this game. He was streaming this game for us in Discord. Like, I was watching him play through it. And then we took a break from watching him play the game to then watch the Cloudy review. I don't know why we did that, but we did. Thoughts on Confused Matthew? I don't know who that is. You say infamous Lion King reviews, but they're not infamous to me. I don't know I don't know who that is or what those are. What's my opinion on Moana 2 so far? It looks promising. I haven't listened to the new song that came out because I want to go in totally blind. So, I don't know how the new song sounds, but it looks like it could be promising, and I'm hoping that my faith is not misplaced, because I really want Moana 2 to be good, and I really don't want the first one to be tarnished, because the first one was a really self-contained, really, really tight, really, really good story, with some good characters and some great music. So it'd be really nice if Moana 2 didn't shit all over it, but I guess we'll see. Have I planned to do a Let's Play of this game's when the last part will arrives? I'm not sure I understand the question. I already have a Let's Play of this game, but I feel like you might be talking about a different game. If you could reword your question a bit, I might be able to give you a better answer. Your turn to the... I currently have no I've kept putting it off for years, because people have been asking me to play that game for years. I've always said I would wait until it's completed, and now my stance is I just don't care. I really don't. There's too many other games I want to play, other things I want to do, for me to spend time on Your Turn to Die. Haven't seen the Tangled show? Surprisingly, no. Much as I love Tangled, you'd think I would have watched it by now, but I haven't. But it is on my list of... It's on my enormously long list of shows that I want to watch. Thoughts on EMP Lemon? I don't know who that is. Or if I do, I only know them by videos and not by names. After I get through this room, I will look up the channel and see if I recognize any of their stuff. I'm guessing I probably won't. But I will look it up anyway, just to see. Have I planned to play fan games? Like many good Ace Attorney fan games, as I like visual novels? I don't really have any plans to do that, no. What are my thoughts on YMS? His Lion King video is really good. His Kimba video is really good. but the more I listen to him, the more annoyed I get. His bias for Pixar is, his bias against Pixar is rampant and it's obnoxious, and he finds a way to shit on them even in videos that have nothing to do with Pixar. He says Elemental's the worst Pixar movie, and his most infamous thing that really grinds my gears is his Toy Story 3 video. I don't understand how someone who so passionately believes that you can't say that that the Lion King ripped off Kimba because of surface level similarities. I don't know how someone who so passionately believes that and made an entire video about it can then simultaneously argue that Toy Story 3 ripped off Toy Story 2 because of surface level similarities. That just... I don't understand how his brain works when that's the conclusion he comes to. It doesn't make sense to me. But I guess I'll talk about that a little more when I finally make my Toy Story 3 video. Damn it. Do we know if he still believes that? On a stream as of August of 2023, he said on a stream that he started hating Pixar around the time of Toy Story 3, and provided no further clarification. So I imagine that he still doesn't think very highly of Toy Story 3. But even if he doesn't, the damage, if he doesn't, he's made no attempts to clarify that. But if he doesn't, the damage he's dealt to online discourse about Toy Story 3 is borderline irreparable, because anytime the movie gets brought up now, someone will inevitably say that it's a rip-off of 2, and it's entirely because of that stupid, shitty video that I hate with a burning passion. This is another level I'd change. I'd make it so that if you put the Dragon Eye on, it would show you which platforms are going to disappear by making them translucent. As is, the Dragon's Eye doesn't do anything in this level, which I think is a big missed opportunity, because if the idea is that you're supposed to be able to use, if you're supposed to have to use all your essences to get to the end of the game, which you do for the most part, except for the Dragon's Eye. Seems like it's a big missed opportunity to not make the Dragon's Eye a more pivotal component of this, the end of this final section. Am I planning to do a Let's Play of Zero Escape? I have a Let's Play of all 3 Zero Escape games. 1 is pretty good, 2 is great, 3 is a travesty. One of the worst games ever made. Favorite dragon in fiction? I guess Toothless. Whoa, okay, hey. Bit of a geometry bump there. Am I interested in Kodaka's new project games? Absolutely not. My life is better since I purged Danganronpa and anything else that man does from my life. Have I seen YMS's review of Unfrosted? No. I don't actively keep up with this channel. Shit, I think I missed a... can I still revert to a checkpoint? Aha! I can. Good thing I caught myself. I almost got 99 out of 100 treasures. That would have been very sad if I got 99% of the way to completion. Have I ever been annoyed by anyone in a movie theater? Many times. As recently as when I went to go see Juror 2 this week. Which, by the way, Juror number 2, very good movie. Highly recommend. Please go support it, because it's Clint Eastwood's final movie, and it's being completely shafted. It's only getting a limited theatrical release. So if you have a theater nearby that's showing it, please go support the movie. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. But while I was in the theater for it, there was an asshole to my right whose phone rang in the middle of the movie and then answered the phone in the theater. That was a pain. And then just people all around. Oh, shit. People all around me in the theater had their phones constantly going off. When I went to go see Wish last year, there was a group to my left that kept talking obnoxiously throughout the whole movie. So bad, it was so bad that I had to leave the theater and go complain to one of the AMC workers, like, hey, these people are terrible, can you please get them out of the theater? They didn't do anything at first, but they did do something finally when I think it took 4 different people coming out to complain about them before they finally actually removed them from the theater. And then they gave me a free movie pass to redeem, well, like, next time I went to the theater, I could redeem it for a free ticket to a movie. Which I thought was pretty cool. They didn't have to do that. I would have been fine. All I wanted was just to get them out of the theater so I could, you know, enjoy the masterpiece that was Wish. But then they went the extra mile and actually reimbursed us. Well, not reimbursed us, but, like, you know, they made it up by giving us a free ticket for the next movie, which was pretty cool. Because they definitely didn't have to do that. It was not, because it's not their fault, right, that people are stupid. They didn't do anything wrong to, it's not like they personally invited them into the theater. It's not like they knew they were going to be terrible. But they still were like, hey, you guys had a bad experience. Let's make it up to you by giving you a ticket to the next movie you want to see. So that was pretty cool. What do I think of the Eden's Garden project that Nico B is showing? I don't know what that is either. Worst song lyrics in Wish. I'll let you live here for free and I don't even charge you rent. Redundancy. Just change it to I let you live here with me. It keeps the rhyme and eliminates the redundancy. Why is the lyric I would let you live here for free and I don't even charge you rent? That doesn't fucking make sense. You're saying the same thing twice. Why? Anyway, I looked up EMP Lemon. I don't recognize any of these videos. Am I still optimistic about Toy Story 5 or am I optimistic about Shrek 5? I am not optimistic about Shrek 5. I don't want Shrek 5. I do not at all want a 5th entry in the Shrek series. Toy Story 5 I am cautiously optimistic for because I want the series to redeem itself after 4. I don't want 4 to be the note on which the series goes out. Alright, let's stock up on health and on mana potions. Thoughts on the movie Leo with Adam Sandler? Haven't seen it. If Fortnite, Among Us, and Call of Duty is shit, why is it so popular? A lot of it, I really believe a lot of it is just peer pressure. Or not peer pressure, but like, I guess it is technically peer pressure. It's a lot of people are playing this thing and I want to play this thing so that I don't feel left out. Call of Duty, a lot of people mainly like Call of Duty because it's just brainless. You just run around and shoot people with no strategy whatsoever, and for a lot of people, that's all they want. They just want something that they can play without really thinking too much about it. They want a stress-free game that they don't have to engage with on any intellectual level, which, sure, I guess. I mean, there's other games you can play that offer that without, you know, engaging with Call of Duty, but whatever. And I guess for Battle Royale games like Fortnite, the appeal would be just there can only be one winner, and you always think that maybe it could be you. And there's clearly something fundamental about the idea of a Battle Royale that appeals to people, because if it wasn't, then the Hunger Games wouldn't be as popular as they are. Like that idea of you start off, you all drop in, you scrounge for resources, and then you try to fight to be the last one standing. Obviously, that idea resonates with people because it's been a permanent staple of pop culture ever since The Hunger Games was first written. But I've just never, most Battle Royale games are, you run around, you do nothing for like 20 minutes, and then you get maybe one gunfight right at the end. Even if you're the last person standing, you usually only get one, maybe two gunfights, and then the game's over. And I just find that so boring. I'm much more of a fan of arena shooters like Halo, where it's very tactics-based and also constant action. There's always gunfights. There's always something you have to be doing, whether it's backcapping a stronghold, securing a flank route, holding map control, or just assisting your teammates in gunfights. There's always something, but there's really nothing in Battle Royale is just so boring to me, but clearly it appeals to people. Among us, people just like social deduction games. It's as simple as that. People just like... They like turning against their friends in those types of situations. It's fun to see if you can figure out what's really going on. At least in principle, that's the idea. Can I justify Shrek's behavior in 4? Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of... midlife crises happen. Like, a lot of people will go through life and just fall into a period of mundanity where you get sick of the same old tired routine and you long for the days when things were simpler, when you didn't have all these burdens and responsibilities, and you long for a period of time rooted in nostalgia from your past. And also, as far as he's concerned, like, the key point about Shrek Forever After is that Rumpelstiltskin tricks him. He doesn't believe he's going to sacrifice his family forever. And then once he realizes what happened, he tries to undo it, even at the expense of his own life, in the end.
Forgive me for playing such a cruel trick on you. But you see,
So it's not like a betrayal of his character or anything like that.
Reclaim the essences that were stolen from me. I certainly could not do it from this prison. And my dim-witted dragon Singe was certainly no help. That's why I gave you the amulet and pretended to be the princess to guide you along your way. And I see my plan worked out well. Now, I shall rule this world once more and take the princess as my bride. I can't have you taking away my prize now, can I? You outlived your usefulness to me. Farewell, Dirk.
Shrek Forever After the perfect ending. Yep, it was called the final chapter for a reason. But now it's not that anymore. Is my most hated YouTuber at the moment. It's probably Mr. Beast or Logan Paul or one of those clowns. It's not a very original answer, but it's true. There's a reason why they're as hated as they are right now. Because they keep doing stupid shit. Oh my lord. A reaction channel gave Shrek 4 shit because it ruined Shrek's character. People can say lots of things. Doesn't mean they're true. Like, what I wish people... Something that I think a lot of people... Because a lot of people, not just on my server, but just in general, have a very knee-jerk reaction to people saying inflammatory stuff like, Shrek 4 is shit, it ruins this person's character. But what I think people need to understand is that if there are no arguments, then it's not worth getting riled up about. Like, if someone has no arguments to present to the table to support... Like, if someone just comes out and says, I don't know, The Owl House is a terrible show, and you go, okay, why? And they say, well, it's just really bad, I just hate it. Then you can very quickly discard that because they don't... There's nothing you can't do anything with that. It's just, oh, they don't like it. Okay, cool. How does this affect my life? It doesn't. It changes literally nothing. So, like, if you just see someone say, like, Shrek 4 is bad because it ruins Shrek's character, and they don't provide any arguments, then it doesn't matter. You shouldn't let that affect your mental state, or you shouldn't let it get to you, or I'd say you shouldn't waste much time getting worked up about it either. Now, if they do have arguments, and they present, like, actual reasoning for why Shrek is out of character, then you can either choose to ignore it, if you don't, like, listen to that kind of stuff, or if you want to have your position challenged, then you can listen to it. And if their arguments are airtight, then it might spark some introspection as to whether your position is as tight as you think it is. Or if they're not strong arguments, then it would reinforce the position you already uphold for why Shrek 4 is as respectful as it is to Shrek's character. So, in short, if they don't have arguments, who cares? If they do have arguments, and you choose to engage with them, then it's either going to make you realize something you didn't know before, or it's going to reinforce something you've already always believed. So, I wouldn't waste time getting weighed down by people who don't have anything substantive to say beyond a very inflammatory generalized statement. Alright, we're gonna get lucky? We sure are not. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a free hit off the bat. That was not one of those times. Was I ever a fan of Mr. Beast? I was compelled to defend him on principle. Because a lot of people were saying, like, Mr. Beast is terrible because he's, I don't know what the argument was. People didn't like that he was, like, I think the argument was that he was exploiting people in need for his own monetary gain. And I was always compelled to defend him on principle because, like, okay, I mean, you can say that he's using, like, he's sort of using them in thumbnails and titles to get people to click on the video, but also, is it also not true that he is doing... Like, he is benefiting. Let's assume that everything he did, like, by saying, I cured 1,000 blind people or whatever. Let's assume that was only done out of corporate greed. It was only done because he knew it would make him, like, he would profit more from the video than he would end up spending making it, kind of thing. And it would gain more, it would bring more attention to his channel. Let's assume that all the motivations for doing that were purely selfishly driven and there was no altruistic motivation behind it whatsoever. It would still be an altruistic thing that happened. Like, if someone donates to charity just to try to prove to themselves, or to prove to other people that they are a good person, not because they actually wanted to make a difference. Or, like, donating to charity and then immediately posting on social media, I donated all my money to charity. That's, like, it's kind of crap that you're mainly motivated by just bragging to other people about how great of a person you are. Or like saying, I always tip 100% of my bill. Okay, why do I need to know this? Shouldn't you just, if you really are doing that out of the kindness of your heart, then shouldn't you just be satisfied with just doing it and not telling people that you're doing it? But regardless of that, you're still doing a good thing. So I was always compelled to be like, I mean, yeah, he might be a little on the arrogant side, and he might be doing things for not so great reasons, but at least the things he's doing are still technically good. But, yeah, with the new stuff that's come out, I can't say that anymore. Thoughts on the Alka Files? Failed backdoor pilot for what looks like a what looks and feels like a Disney Junior special. It doesn't really feel that consistent with the tone of the show, the rest of the show, which is a shame. Because I would like... Doof and Perry were always some of the best parts of the main Phineas and Ferb show. So the idea of having a special focus entirely around them working together as a part of the OWCA, you'd think would be really good, but it kind of doesn't really live up to... I forget, Avert, if you're still in chat, did you ever watch the Alka Files? I think I told you to not watch it and treat The Last Day of Summer as the final episode. Because it is, or at least it was, but did you ever actually... get around to watching it? If you're, you may not even still be here, I don't know. But I saw you in chat earlier, so if you are still here, I'm curious. You never watched it and treated Last Day of Summer as the finale? Yeah, Last Day of Summer was... It should be the final episode. It's not anymore, unfortunately. It was in the middle of the season? There's no way I would have let that happen. There's no way I would have let you watch the Alka Files in the middle of the season, because it spoils the ending of the show. What you might be thinking of is there is another episode in Season 3 called Agent Doof, where Doof temporarily starts working for the OWCA, and then he gives up on it by the end of the episode. But there's no way I would have let you watch, because the Alka Files spoils a major payoff from the end of The Last Day of Summer. I don't think there's any way I would have let you do that. By the way, this cutscene kind of looks crap.
Hero.
Like, the opening cutscene is so good, it's so beautiful, classic Dumbluth animation. I think they ran out of budget for the final, cutscene of the game, which is a shame. Thoughts on the Kelly Osbourne episode? That, I think, is the worst episode in the entire show. In fact, it's so bad it isn't even on Disney Plus anymore. It was the only episode of the show that was not added to Disney Plus when Disney Plus launched in 2019. Ferb TV? Ferb TV's an... Ferb TV has a couple funny jokes. There's a couple moments, like when Buford is like, "Who puts tofu in lasagna? People need to be avant-garde from your food." There's a couple good jokes in Ferb TV. I don't think there's any good jokes in... Like, I don't think there's anything worthwhile about the Kelly Osbourne episode. And while, as much as I really don't like Ferb TV, there are some moments that I think are actually pretty funny. What about Candace Gets Busted? A lot of people don't like that episode. I guess because it's mean-spirited against Candace, but I don't know. The idea of Doofenshmirtz just making... Like, trying to watch drive-in movies through his window, but there's a building that is blocking his view, so he made an innator to fucking move the building. And he, like, makes up his own dialogue for the drive-in, and then he accidentally teleports the party into his clothes. That's just... It's just so funny. I don't hate that episode as much as I guess some people seem to. That was a lot shorter than you thought. Well, keep in mind, the only reason this game the only reason I beat it in less than 3 hours, even with taking that brief intermission in the middle to check out the Game Awards nominees, is because I know this game like the back of my hand, so I can blitz through it really quickly without even really thinking about it. Like, honestly, at this point, I've played this game so many times that to the point where it is just autopilot. There's no real thought that goes into my... Like, I don't have to really think about what I'm doing when I play this game. Like, I just do it. That's why it's such a good stream game. Because some games, like, if I play a game for the first time, it's not as good for streaming because my attention is divided between learning the game for the first time and also reading people's messages in chat. But for a game like this that I'm so familiar with, my attention can be much more strongly dedicated to reading people's messages in chat because I don't have to dedicate really any brain power to the game. Have I seen the first 3 episode titles of Phineas Ferb Season 5? I have stayed blind to everything Phineas Ferb Season 5 related. I want to go in totally blind. I don't want to know anything about it. Like, they've released some behind-the-scenes clips of the actors recording lines for Season 5. I haven't listened to any of them. I don't want to know anything going into it. By the way, this song is pretty cheesy, but I like it. I also like that they give credit to all Dragon's Lair fans worldwide in the credits. Am I worried about Season 5? It's a complicated question. Like, it's not... I'm not worried about it being good or bad. I have enough faith in Dan Povenmire and Jeff Swampy Marsh to where I'm not at all... I have no worries whatsoever about the quality of the writing being bad. Like, I'm sure it will be on par with the quality of the comedically speaking, I'm sure it will be up to snuff with what was expected of the series from the first 4 seasons. That I'm not worried about at all. It's just, it's less so that, like, whether the episodes themselves will be good or bad, it's more so just that in order for Season 5 to exist, you, by necessity, have to bulldoze through the previous, like, the ending of Season 4, because they want it to be the exact same show that it was originally, with the same algebraic equation of Candace trying to bust the brothers and Doofenshmirtz and Perry having their scuffle. But you can't have that be the case if you stick with the ending of Last Day of Summer. So, yeah, it just... I would just prefer... I would have, if they wanted to have it be the same show, they should have just had it be before Last Day of Summer. I mean, you can say that the summer was already bloated to hell, which it is. It's a never-ending summer that clearly lasted way longer than 104 days. But that's better than trampling over the really, really strong finale payoffs. I don't know. Thank you for playing Dragon's Air 3D. You're welcome. Have I seen the episode titles of Stranger Things 5 that recently revealed? I looked at them and forgot about literally all of them, except for the final episode, which is called The Right Side Up, which is the perfect name for the final... That is... I couldn't have written a better name for the final episode of that show. That is... I'm a big sucker for finale titles that really have an impact, that really sound conclusive and definitive and tie into the story in some way. And The Right Side Up being the final episode title for a show all about the Upside Down, that is just... Mwah! Chef's kiss. It's that I wouldn't have had it be called anything else. But I don't want to know the other names because I want to go in blind, but I feel like The Right Side Up probably doesn't spoil anything, but it does make me excited, because that's like, oh, I really hope that show ends well. The Duffer Brothers have said that the one thing that they had plotted out in advance was, like, they know what the final 30 minutes of the series are going to be. Like, they have the ending and the epilogue all set out, and it's just a matter of building to that point. So I hope, if nothing else, that it ends well. That's all I can ask for at this point, is that it just ends well. All the things I like about Young Sheldon, it's just funny. Comedy is really, really strong in that show. Dr. N.O. is a worse name than Great Circle. I don't know what you're referring to. Advice to those who get flack for having hot takes: just stand by what you... Don't let your thoughts be influenced by anyone else. If you believe in your position, you have the evidence to support it, then go for it. Don't... People aren't going to react positively, but you shouldn't let that stop you. If you really believe in something and you can back it up, then that's all that matters. Dr. N.O. is a James Bond film. That'd be why I don't know what it is. I don't have context, but I would still... Great Circle is just so, like, patently stupid. It's just a shape with an adjective in front of it. The Great Circle. Thoughts on Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel, and Star Wars? Star Wars is really good. Mission Marvel is... eh. Thoughts on Star vs. Forces of Evil finale? I have not seen Star vs. Forces of Evil, but the reason I haven't seen it is because I know that the finale is terrible. So I don't watch a show if I know it's gonna end badly. Because, like, what's even the point? Because TV shows are much more of a long-standing thing as far as the viewer's engagement with them. Like, films are kind of, for the most part, of course there's franchises. You have Toy Story, Shrek. There's a lot of franchises that do run for a long time. But for the most part, films are kind of a one-and-done deal of just telling a self-contained, tightly knit experience and conveying that to an audience. What TV shows, by necessity, they stick around for a while. They're always, it's often a tradition for people, like, every week, get around the TV and watch a new episode of whatever the show is, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Suits, Succession, whatever it is, that you get to know those characters a lot better because they have a lot more screen time. So, the investment level is a lot higher for TV show characters than it is for film characters a lot of the time. And because of that, I am reluctant to try to engross myself in a world that I know doesn't have a satisfying payoff. Because, like, if I start watching a movie and I get attached to a character and then by the end it falls apart, I'm like, oh, whatever. I didn't know you until 2 hours ago, so bye. It's nice, it's fun. Thanks for the 2 hours I won't get back, I guess. But with a TV show, you invest a lot of your time into learning about the characters and engrossing yourself in that world, be it the Boiling Isles or Amphibia or the world of Suits or the Albuquerque Trilogy universe or whatever the case may be. You feel like you know these characters, you feel like you know this world, you feel like you're a part of this world. So to have all that come crashing down at the end, even if it's just like a very grounded real world thing like Succession, just to feel like that all comes crushing down at the end after all the time you've sunk into it, it stings a lot harder than it does for other mediums of storytelling. Have you seen The Hangover? No. Aren't there 3 of those? I feel like there's like 3 Hangover movies. And no, I haven't seen them. I haven't seen any of them. Would I have been interested in seeing that canceled Yellow Submarine remake if it was made? Maybe. I might have checked it out. It was Yellow Submarine is certainly something I respect it artistically, even if it's not my thing, so I guess I would have been interested in seeing what a remade version of it would have looked like. What things Amphibia did better than the Owl House? I got nothing. It had a Christmas special. Owl House did not have a Christmas special. Therefore, Amphibia did a Christmas special better than the Owl House, I guess. I mean, it's hard to lose or win at a game you didn't even play in, but that's all I got right now. I really don't believe that Amphibia triumphs in any way over the Owl House. You would have loved to see an Owl House Christmas special. Thing is, Dana Terrace doesn't really vibe with Christmas. She's big into Halloween, which explains a lot of the Owl House and why there's a Halloween-centric episode, but Christmas has never really been something she is that into, so there would never have been a timeline in which we got an Owl House Christmas thing. Hootie in a Santa hat. Hootie is... I love the idea of Hootie going around. That actually would be a pretty funny short. Like, Hootie learns about what Christmas is, and he just breaks into people's houses and deposits, like, vomits up the most vile shit imaginable into their stockings. Hoot hoot! Merry Christmas, hoot hoot! Halloween rules, Christmas rules. See, I mean, I'm the opposite way. I don't really like... I've never been a Halloween person. Nothing about the holiday appeals to me. I guess it appealed to me when I was a kid, going around to different houses, dressing up in costumes at night. But also, I'm not a candy person, so that, like, that part of it has never been my thing. I just don't, the vibe of Christmas has always been much more my style. Favorite Back to the Future action scene? It's gotta be the clock tower. The clock tower is classic. Alright, I can stick around for maybe a few more minutes. But I should probably get going and get myself some lunch here soon. So I'll stick around till maybe like... I'll stick around till like 2:10. I'll give it another 5 minutes and then I'll call the stream for today. On the topic of Christmas, I said I haven't seen snow in person before, right? Correct. I have seen the aftermath of a snowstorm and that I've seen snow frozen into an ice form on the ground. Like, I can see that used to be snow and it is now since frozen. But I have never seen a snowfall, nor have I ever seen, like, fresh snow or anything like that. You might want to go somewhere with snow soon, because I may not have many more chances to see it. Yeah, that's, unfortunately true. I think next year I should set up a... Because my uncle and his kids love going, skiing, so I might try to set something up with them next year to go, because they love going, skiing, so I might set up something like that. Although, honestly, snow just kind of seems like it's more of a pain. Like, dealing with snow on a regular basis seems like more trouble than it's worth. You're never going to like Christmas as much as Halloween anyway because you're an atheist. Oh, I mean, so I'm not really religiously, I'm not religious at all. In fact, I've actually lost friends before because they were hyper-religious, and I had the balls to tell them that I was not really. I don't want to just to cover my ass here, I'm not saying every religious person is like this, because I am friends with people who are religious and they aren't like this, but I have met people who were, like, super ultra-religious, and I said I was agnostic, and that was, like, well, actually, it probably literally was a sin to them, so they cut me off pretty quickly. So I'm not even, like, nothing about the religious aspect of Christmas has ever appealed to me. It's just, that's the time of year. I love the, I'm a big fan of a lot of Christmas music. I love the vibe that a lot of, that type of music creates, and the decorations that everyone puts up. That's more my vibe, that's more my style, and that type of atmosphere. And that's also the time of year when my family gets together. I love I have a tradition with my grandmother where we always go Christmas shopping for my parents. We always drive around town. All kinds of crazy stores. We have gone to the ends of the earth in some really crazy, weird places trying to find the appropriate presents for my family. I love that. I always would, whenever I'm back in town, I always go to a hockey game with my dad every year. That's always a nice tradition that we have. And yeah, I have very warm feelings about the Christmas holiday, divorced from any of the religious angles. Have I heard the Jay Schlatt Santa Claus Coming to Town cover? No, I have not. Favorite Christmas special from a TV show? Probably the Phineas and Ferb Christmas. Not the fake Christmas special with Kelly Clarkson, but the first one they did, the Christmas Vacation one, with featuring such songs as That Christmas Feeling, Danville for Niceness, Thank You Santa, Christmas is Starting Now. I love that one. I watch that every year. I have a list of movies and shows and stuff that I watch every year on Christmas. And I have never, the last year I didn't get to watch most of them because Home Sweet Home Alone stole my Christmas Eve from me. But that's not happening this year. I have enlisted the help of Gugonic to edit the final Christmas commentary. And he has much better work ethic than I do. He doesn't kill himself to get videos done on time, because I tell him explicitly, do not do this to yourself. I'm the only one who I let drop to those types of insane work hours. So if I'm not editing it, there's no risk of that happening. But I will still be making progress on Toy Story 3 in the background. It's twofold as to why he's editing this one. One, because, well, three reasons. One, because he reacted more passionately to this one than he did to Polar Express. Two, because it takes pressure off of me to get it done for Christmas. And three, because it allows me to focus 100% on Toy Story 3 stuff. Okay, well, as much as I'd love to stick around a little longer and chat with people, I should probably get myself some lunch and start getting some ducks in a row for my weekly activities. So thanks all for tuning in today, helping me celebrate another year of Dragon's Lair 3D. I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussion about the Game Awards nominees. Oh, and don't worry, if you want to revisit the stream, I'll make sure to update it with timestamps. Not right away, but at some point today, I'll go back in and add timestamps, so if you want to skip around to the Game Awards stuff or around the Game Awards stuff, that'll all be there. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you have a good day. Hopefully you all have a good week. Don't know when the next stream will be. I might stream again before the end of the month, but I also might not. But I will definitely stream at least once in December before the end of the year. If not, LPs will be back tomorrow. Mario Wonder and Ratchet & Clank 3, both near the end of those games, and we're going to finish them both up this week. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great day and the rest of your week, and hope to catch you all soon for whatever it is you decide to watch next. Have a good day, everybody.